Sounds off.
There we go. We are live. I think we should be. Hold on, let me do something real quick here just to make sure we're not putting a large load on the computer. I'm going to pop this chat bubble out, and then I'm going to close the window altogether.
We find ourselves somewhere between internet life and death. So
plus, that way we don't get caught up in how many people are watching or not.
I'm here. I'm watching you.
I'm watching you watching me.
Ooh.
How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. We haven't gotten to talk for a little while. Mostly because I've been avoiding your phone calls, and then I think you've been avoiding mine. So
I'm like torn right now whether I want to run with the bit or I want to just I haven't been avoiding your phone calls, not by any stretch of the imagination. I've been busy as fuck, dude. Dad went to the hospital, had an aneurysm and a few strokes. So we've been kind of compensating and trying to help out over there, doing that shit with the rental properties and at their personal property. That's been a bunch of work. Not complaining about it, but is
he hanging in there? Is he doing?
Yeah, he's
okay,
doing pretty
as he could
well
be,
now.
I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's I kind of prepared myself for the worst. So everything I've gotten for news is like great news. You know what I mean? I'm not complaining about anything. I've just been so busy that I've dropped a lot of balls. I mean, fuck, dude. You and probably another 3 people hit me up like, hey, dude, did you quit the podcast? And I was like, no, why? I slowed down a bit, and they're like, dude, because like I haven't seen you, because they only listen on audio, right?
Yeah,
and I hadn't uploaded.
That's the same for me. I only put it on audio.
Yeah, and I hadn't I totally dropped that ball, and then just with everything, now I'm getting back into the grind, but I also got to play catch up. So I've been spending so much time scheduling and creating clips for the channel. I launched a fucking TikTok. I'm working with Wheeler and Moya and some videographers in town. Shout out to Steve Lane and Bud Ingram Lyle and everybody involved. We're doing some extra content shoots, stuff for like my Patreon and their own channels and stuff. So we've just been it's been a wild last fucking couple months, dude.
I'm just hearing a lot of excuses.
No, they're not excuses. They're reasons. Actually, they are excuses.
Yeah, they are legit.
Do you know what the difference
I'm
between an excuse and a reason is?
I guess one of them is more compelling than the other.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. Like an excuse makes it okay. Like an excused absence from school. Like
a justification.
Yeah. Like, do you have a reason you weren't here? Yes, I have a reason. Is that reason an excuse? Because if it's an excuse, then we're all good. You see what I'm saying?
But you sound like you've had a lot of unexcused absences, and you've handled this like multiple times and talked your way out of some shit, is what I'm picking up on.
Once or twice.
Yeah, maybe just a couple times. Anyways, cheers.
There's a wicked echo in the mic. Which one? Is it in mine or is it in his? Whose mic is it in, Cloth?
I don't have headphones on, so.
See, this way
we getting some echo. I can put some.
I don't hear the echo. So
put some cans. Put some cans on here.
Let me see if I can pull it up on the Ubes. On the Ubes of tubes.
It's not happening here. Sounds okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not in ours, but it's clearly happening. So
let's fix these audio bugs.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, I don't like to be on a buggy audio feed.
Yeah, it is just in mine.
Sounds kind of nice though. It sounds like a good reverb.
Yours sounds fine.
Yeah, well, that's me.
How's that? Check. We gotta fix these bugs, baby. No, it's still there. Where the fuck is this coming from?
It's just a reverb, man. It's okay. There's worse things.
No, it's not. It's super annoying. Yeah, that's fucking dumb. Is it better? Does sound a little bit better, doesn't it, Cloth? It's just a reverb. It is gone a little bit, but now I'm like way quieter than you. So
is it coming up from? Is it picking it up from your can? You got one off the ear.
No, it's not picking it up from that. It's something to do with the gain levels. Like
if you turn any of the mics up too loud, it starts to create an echo, and I'm not really even sure where that's coming. I've never really actually figured it out, but hopefully it's better. Is it better? Let me know in the comments. You guys are watching this live.
We're gonna have to go with it for now unless you start getting this sorted out. So, anyways, man, tell me. So,
you don't have to ride that as high.
Okay, it's kind of nice to have it close, but I'll keep it like right here. Makes me feel like I'm about to start singing at any moment, but right. I'll keep it a little further back. There we go.
And that's probably what my problem is.
So let me tell you what I've been doing. Been wrapping up the album for Anxiety Society. Been working with, I got the storyboard put together with Wheeler, so we're going to get that all set soon for the first video.
You're shooting with Wheeler?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
He and I have been meaning to since, like 2014, back in the Wither the Tide days when I had Lunar Phase 1 come out. He wanted to do one of the videos because one of the songs really kind of struck a chord with him. And we've always been in contact about getting to it, but we just, for various reasons, we've never actually been able to get it done. But now, I've just made the storyboard, and I went to him, and I said, can we do this? And he said yes. And I think it was a really, really weird video that I put together. And I think he's one of the only people that could probably see the vision of how bizarre this is.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's not one of those videos where, the dude gets his heart broke and goes running around or something like this. It's out there. So hopefully when that comes along, soon enough, it will be really fun for everybody to see. Aside from that, I was just at 2D-Con over the weekend, helping my brother out with his game that he's got. He's got one out on Nintendo Switch right now on like Steam, and it's coming to PS4 finally after they passed approval through Sony, which was harder to get a game onto a PlayStation console to get through the approval process than it was for Nintendo Switch, which is kind of surprising because we all thought Nintendo was more stringent with the standards that had to be met as far as like censorship and all that stuff.
Why? Because they're like a bigger kid platform or something?
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
is
Nintendo.
That your perception? I'm asking why. You
yeah, it is my perception. It always has been. Like Nintendo is more of like the all ages kind of kid friendly, which doesn't mean it's any worse. I mean, I'd rather play Super Mario Odyssey than many other games that are out there. So it was just kind of a surprise. So that's now coming along. His game Wallachia, which everybody can pick up on Nintendo Switch. Coming to PS4 and currently on Steam. He's also got a new game coming out called it's oh gosh, I'm getting amnesia here. It's COTW, Call of the Wolf. I can't remember it, but he demoed it and it went pretty well. So it was kind of fun to go there because there's actually kind of a local indie game scene, right? And all the developers, that might be terrible. I randomly
interesting.
Yeah, I randomly picked beers for you. I just look at the picture.
And the boys over at Broken Clock, fucking, I don't know about this one, man. I know fucking, I know Jeremy, one of the owners over there. Not like super well, but I know I have his phone number and shit.
I thought the picture is funny because it says Bach to the future.
Yeah, it's a part Doppelbach.
Yeah,
Bach to the future. I don't know, man. This one's a little. Woo! I'm gonna have to sip on it for a while.
So there's kind of an indie game scene that takes place there. It's all the local game developers and everybody go and set up this indie island thing there. Pretty cool. A couple people from out of state come there too. Kind of like, if you have a local show, you might every once in a while get somebody from one of the surrounding states. So it's kind of the game equivalent of that. And then of course, karaoke after hours. So I was singing karaoke late into the night until like 2 or 3 a.m. with all of the fellow video game people. When I was leaving, it was like, gosh, it had to be like 5 a.m. when I finally decided to leave. There was still like Magic the Gathering card games going on all over. Like it was intense, man. And there's just arcades everywhere, like playing Ninja Turtles. Oh, and Mortal Kombat. So there's a Mortal Kombat 2 arcade machine there. I was hanging out in the area, just kind of watching to see if anybody would go and play it. And every time somebody came up, I went up there and challenged him. I was just waiting for somebody to take me down. Nobody could. Nobody could beat me in Mortal Kombat 2. You want to jump kick on me? You want to jump at me? You're going to get roundhoused every time. So I use Baraka too, who's really cheap. So I got to Kentaro though, who's the second to the last boss, who's a motherfucker, and I had to go back upstairs, take my little girl up there because I brought my daughter. And this dude that was like, oh, how do you play this game? I kind of know about it. And he was like looking up the moves. I'm like, well, here's Kentaro. Here's how you beat him. It's just about the jump kicks and the timing. I came back 4 hours later, and the dude was like, Yeah, I just beat it. So he fought this boss, Kintaro, who's like the 4-armed tiger looking dude for Mortal Kombat 2.
I remember.
Yeah, he fought him for like 4 hours, but he did not give up, and he beat him. And then he's like, oh, and after I beat him, I totally forgot about Shao Kahn, but I took him down in 2 tries. So,
Dude, I remember spending so much time and money. Well, probably not actually that much money, because that was still back then when...
it was like 25 to 50 cents, depending on what the operator wanted.
Mortal Kombat 2 specifically was like probably 50 cents or $1, but still $20 could last all night.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're winning.
Yeah, my mom was in a bowling league.
Yeah.
And so she'd be bowling, and I'd be in the arcade of the bowling alley just fucking mashing, dude. So much fun, man.
Yeah.
I miss being a kid and
well,
discovering something new.
You
It
get
was so fun.
You get a lot of that feeling back when you go to the old arcades, because then there's still like it was one of those things where everybody's just walking up and trying a new game because they were all on free play.
Sure.
So I was playing Initial D, I was playing like all the like rhythm games and everything they have there. So just a ton of fun. And then my wife and my stepdaughter were cosplaying, so she went to Zero Suit Samus.
Gotcha.
So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I drank until well into the night, so I was just having a blast. So it was a lot of fun. So what you been up to, man? Tell me. I know your dad, but has there been anything else going on? Like
I said, I've been really concentrating on the hardest part of making clips for the show is literally going back and taking the time to listen to my show, because I got 2 ways of doing it. I can either put my own podcast on in the background while I'm doing shit like a normal person would, but then I have to literally like mentally bring out my phone, make a note, here's where that joke was, here's the timestamp, go clip that. I tried to do that, never happens. Never ever ever do I actually like get that clip. So now is what I'm trying to do is put it on in the editor up on one of the screens here in the studio, get other shit done, and then as soon as I hear something, I walk over, grab it, snip it down. I made a template with an intro and an outro. So all I need now is the clip and the thumbnail from the original episode, and I've got a kind of a little format or a template for that. But it's just really time consuming, catching back up with the podcast, and then I've been devoting a legitimate amount of time to listening to music again. I forgot how little I listen to music now.
Yeah.
Like, we think we're musicians, we listen to music a lot, right? Well, dude, I don't know what the fuck happened between me being in a band and now, but the actual amount of music I was listening to more talk radio, podcasts, things like that. So it was really hard for me to get inspired. And this is where I'm going with this, is like, I went out of my way to start listening to music in scenarios where I would normally turn on a podcast, and found myself recently inspired to actually go play drums and play guitar, even if it's just sitting down with my sticks playing on, another chair like I do a lot while I'm fucking doing something. I'll just sit down here and drill, or I'm listening to music. I don't always sit on the kit.
A lot of us, Jared, where we'll kind of slip into this phase where you just listen to podcasts, or listen to this one though, but put some music on in the background. You'll listen to podcasts and like talk radio, right? And you kind of forget about that aspect of music, right? So I find myself in that space every once in a while too. But I've been on a huge Stone Temple Pilots kick, which is why I was singing that earlier.
Dude, you were singing. I'm half the man I used to be.
Yeah.
That is probably my favorite and only Stone Temple song I truly love. But they've got some bangers. Like Vaseline is a good tune.
Yeah. For me, it was their third album. Like I heard "Bing Bang Baby," and then I bought the record. I never really knew who they were much before that. Man. So then I bought that record and completely fell in love with it. And I've just been I've been rediscovering some old stuff while listening to a lot of new things too. I've been listening again at work now instead of putting on podcasts, because there's a drought on your podcast. So I'm like, well, I'll just listen to music.
They were all there on YouTube.
Yeah,
I just really sincerely dropped the ball on uploading the audio versions to our worldwide listeners, and I apologize. We're all caught up now, but yeah, we fucking did 100 episodes. We did episode 100. Oh yeah, like I said, we're shooting extra content. We're doing the zombie thing Thursday night. That's going to be fun. I don't know how long it's going to take to edit all the footage together, but that'll be up for the Patreon subscribers. That includes you, Cloth, you son of a bitch. Oh, you know what? I never checked my camera angle. Dude, can you do me a favor?
Who's Jeremy Blockhay? Jeremy Blockhay Music? Jeremy, what are you drinking? Why are you asking yourself questions, dude?
He's asking you, is what Jeremy's really asking you, is he's asking you why you're drinking cum. That's what he's really
asking himself a question.
Asking.
He said, Jeremy, what are you drinking? And we all know Jeremy Blockhay Music speaks in a third-person perspective. So start making sense here, dude. Then we can work on your questions, all right? Thanks.
Do you know who that is? You know that's Jeremy Blake from Dying Euphoria.
Never heard of him. Of course
never heard of him. He said never heard of him. That's so funny, dude. I wonder what's up with my... Hold on, I gotta check something, because this fucking camera switcher is like not working.
Mr. Blockhay, I did bring I brought Jared some Jinro to try, so I'd like to see what he thinks of that. I also brought him some beers, and I brought him one that tastes really bad. So I don't know what you're drinking, but please do feel free to tell us. So maybe one day you could also be here, and he could have two Jeremys at one time. So...
That could be interesting.
Two Jeremys, one basement. So we'll see what happens.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah. So I've been listening to a lot of music too, and then we'll get to it in a little bit here too. But I've been listening to a lot of my own stuff as well, like which is kind of some of the stuff that I used to write a long time ago was sort of hard to listen to, like shortly after I would do it. But now I go back and I listen to a lot of my older work too, and I have more appreciation for it now, and I can kind of see how I came from where I was to where I've gotten now, which it's got a lot to do with like just it's easier to kind of step away from it for that amount of time, and then I can really hear it rather than being in the moment, right? And you told me something pretty interesting. You and I were driving around, and you were singing some of my songs for my old record, and you said that you will never know how good your work is, which is not to say like me specifically, but as myself. Or as anyone like Jeremy over there, he may not know how good his music is either, because you can't step outside of yourself often to really get an idea for how good your music is. It was kind of a profound thing you said to me there, and I'm like, huh, that's kind of true, and not necessarily.
Well, I'm well known for saying profound things, my dude,
and not necessarily to say that you will like how good in a good way too, because you could take the other side of that. You will never know how good your music is or isn't when you can't step outside yourself, because you can be blinded by your ego. You can think, oh my god, I am the best fucking musician the world has ever known, but you might be terrible. You might write shit music with shit lyrics, and you're just a total d-bag.
Yep, there's a clip we didn't release where there was a guest doing exactly that, bragging and talking about how he was better than he was, and we didn't release that clip because I don't think it makes either of us look good.
Was that from my last episode?
No,
that sounds like something I would say. Okay, thanks.
Does that sound better, Cloth? I think I turned off the high pass filter. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, you guys.
This is it's just
fair warning.
It's Nagori. If anybody's wondering what this is, if you caught that last time I was here,
is what it is.
It's the word for cum somewhere, I guess, right?
It's several different species semen.
It's a blend.
It's a semen blend. Of rhinoceros semen
put together by the sommelier of whatever this is, right? Like they spend a lot of time getting these blends together and doing a lot of
thanks, Cloth.
Just smelling it, making sure everything's right. What's the nose on it?
Shout out to everyone watching right now. Shout out to the guys in chat, Jeremy Blake, Cloth Yixon. Love you guys.
Lots of that. Lots of listening to old music. Lots of thinking about it. Lots of listening to new music and thinking about that too. Just one thing I've noticed too is that a lot of the newer stuff I listen to, it seems like rhythm tends to be more pronounced in a lot of it too. Like, not to say that that's the direction music's going, but I've been listening to a lot of K-pop, right? Which has more upfront because of my little girl. She listened to a couple K-pop songs with her neighbor friends, and now I find myself...
For anybody that doesn't know what K-pop is, will you explain it to him, please?
It's Korean pop. It's kind of a mix of pop music with a lot of hip-hop influence.
I would describe it's Korean Backstreet Boys.
Yeah,
like it's Korean modern day. Like I think it's closer.
It's got a hard edge though. It's got a little bit of danger in the sound sometimes.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay,
does.
maybe I'm just naive and speaking out of school.
But if you're thinking like what you're saying might be like BTS, right?
I know nothing about it. I've just heard definitely BTS. That's the only K-pop band I could mention.
Oh, I'm thinking Blackpink.
And I couldn't even
danger in their sound.
I could not have even said BTS unless you would have brought it up, and then I can go, yeah, that's a K-pop band.
Yeah.
But if you'd asked me to name one, I'd have been shook.
Yeah, that one I don't listen to. My little girl don't listen to that group very much, but she listens to a lot of the other ones, and quite a few of them are pretty interesting. So, but there's a lot of them that have a lot of danger to it. So, it's kind of interesting to find myself listening to a lot of the rhythm stuff. Like it's very pronounced versus rock music, where it's maybe a little more on the melody side. But that's just one of the things too that I find that's interesting in it. I don't know, man. So what's the deal with our music? What are we doing?
Well, we got drummer issues. So that's why I'm drumming so much again.
Yeah.
Is because...
You mentioned that earlier. That's kind of what I'm waiting to hear. Like,
yeah, okay, so absolutely nothing has changed, essentially. Because all the guys that are good enough are too fucking busy. And the guys that are like, hey, I'll come do it. I've had to have hard private conversations like, bro, you can't even play to a click track. Like, I remember doing shit with you in the past.
I know,
not
but I'll
you,
still do it.
fuck.
I can't play to a click track.
No, or they're just like rewriting shit too much, and I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to like actually write this album again. I just literally need to get this done and move on with our lives, all of us. Like, it's just supposed to be a thing we're doing and moving on. Guys come in and they'll completely do something not even remotely close to what's on the record, and I'm like, dude, I told you to play it like pretty straight and like spice up the fills to make it your own, not completely write every groove of the entire. So no. And so fuck it, I'm just gonna fucking do it, dude. I'm sick of fucking around. I'm sick of waiting, and it's, you know, it is what it is. It takes time to build the chops back to where I expect them to be. There's some people who've been like, dude, that's good enough. You should just slap that out right now, including Wally. He's like, this is workable.
Just do it.
I'm like, nope. Because I'm listening to it from a songwriting perspective, not just a performer perspective. So it's not just about the fact that it's in the pocket. You know, Wally can move one kick drum every once in a while because it's a little bit late or ahead of the whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking from a creative songwriting perspective as a drummer. I made the drums an afterthought. And if I want this record to be as good as it can be, I do need to slow down and not rewrite my drums, but approach certain parts that I literally just threw down a concept beat on, and we've been rolling with ever since. It's like, that's not a finished beat. That's me just slapping shit as hard as I can to make sure.
As a car guy, sometimes I like it if they just build the concept. You know, here's part of it too. Like,
well, think about it like this. A
better song is going to be a song that's completed rather than a song that we're just like, we got to get the right drummer.
Think about it like this, though. Because I can find anybody to play live drums. That's not an issue. There's a dozen guys in this town willing to do it. We've already had that conversation. It's getting them written and tracked. When you wrote the Wither the Tide stuff and you had the drums basically on a drum machine, you could have gotten a guy that would have just played it, and then you found Rich, who played it, but then added a real drummer vibe to it. That's what I'm missing. That's what I'm missing, is somebody who can take them and run with them like it's a real instrument. And the only reason I've been avoiding it this whole time is literally time. I still don't think I have time to do this properly. And number two, I never wanted to play drums on this project. And actually, number three, I feel like if I'm playing both guitar and drums on record, it makes the music more one-dimensional than I originally wanted it. I was just supposed to play guitar.
So getting stalled out like this, I can if anybody's listened to my Wither the Tide project and heard, like, we've done 3 albums. We did the first 2 pretty close together, and then the third one almost like a lifetime apart, it sounded like, or it felt like anyways. The first record it came along really easy, like Rich was there ready to go, and then the band kind of started to stall out a little bit, not creatively, but it was just at a point where I couldn't find a way to get things coordinated to get people back into the studio to do everything. So what I did is I just wrote that album, and then I just went to Wally. I'm like, hey, we're doing the second record. I spent a month writing the songs all by myself, brought them all in, re-recorded the entire album. Done. Could have been released
now
just
here's
me
the
and
thing.
Wally.
As your friend and as a fellow musician, I've continuously told you that second Wither the Tide record is nowhere near as good as the first. Now, there's a couple reasons, I think, for that. Number one, you did exactly what you just described. And number two, I think you also had the classic thing happen to all musicians. You had way more time to write the first album. Of course, the first album's going to be better than the second album, right?
Oh, I think the second one's far better. It's different stylistically.
Well, I mean, I get you think it's better, but you're wrong. I'm just kidding. It's subjective. It's subjective.
It is. The first record was heavier. But what I wanted to say is
the first album, fucking, to me, it rocked. It fucking rocked.
It did. There's a couple really good songs on there, and some of those songs that would have been the second record were actually ended up on the third anyways. But what happened is that record was created. It wasn't released. Then the band heard it, and they were like, well, shit, we got to get our shit together and get in there. They ended up coming in, making their contributions, and the record was better than it ever could have been. I do feel strongly that the second With the Tide album was a better overall record. It just wasn't as heavy. And a lot of people, like, we kind of played in the metal scene and everything, so people probably expected that, where it was more of an experimental rock album. But to me as a listener, I'd rather listen to that one. And I make music for myself, so if others tend to enjoy it, that's great. But I wrote that album for me, so, and god damn it, I love that album. So
you said your brother, your little brother, or your cousin, or your nephew, or somebody's interested in playing bass?
Oh yeah, my nephew will. Yeah, he's a bassist. He's done a couple things. He's an artist. He's been in a band already and everything too. He's a younger dude, but he's got a lot of fire.
Is he from here?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
He's from here. So he's got a lot of fire. I let him hear the demos. He's like, hell yeah, just tell me when we're going to start practicing live. I'll be there.
I think I got a couple drummers that are willing to come in and do some rehearsals. But again, I want to have, if that's the case we're going to do, I want to have the drums more refined. Because the way I see it is, like, if we're going to bring in a real drummer, I want to not finish the drums and give them some creative room, because the songs are already written. So let's let him have a little bit of influence, so he's not basically joining a cover band. But if we're going to have me track him and we're just going to have people show up to play him in rehearsals or in a live setting, then it needs to be more instructional.
Yeah.
Well, I can't be like, oh, do whatever you want.
There's something that we all as musicians need to understand, and I hope everybody, if you've been in a band before, you've probably been on one of the two ends of this. When you join a band, don't come in and just for the sake of changing things to have your say and have your way. Don't do that. Like, if you're joining a band, just play it how they ask. Play it like you're in a fucking cover band if you have to. Work yourself in there, get used to it, and the songs will become your own. And before you know it, you'll kind of be doing your own things, right? Like, if let's say, for example, you put me into a band where they had a different singer, I'm gonna go into there and I'm gonna say to myself, okay, I'll sing it exactly like your singer had it, except for I'll do it better than he did, but I'll do it just like he thought he could do it, and I'll do a really good job, right?
And you're humble about it
over
too.
time, and I'll be very humble about it. And over time, I'll start to sing it with a little bit of my own take on it and everything, right? But it wouldn't be until we write songs where I'm fully involved. Otherwise, why am I trying to reinvent the wheel? So if this song worked, if it was good, maybe I'll have a few little improvements for it here. But it's to get things going, because as a musician, we can't stop, right? You got to just do it. There's so many times that we lose that inner game that we get hung up on it. I saw it happen to my brother, who was in Subnormal. They never were able to continue and finish that second record, which would have been absolutely incredible, better than anything I've written. That record could have been done, but he never did it because he lost his inner game. He's like, it's got to be perfect. We got to have the right guy. We got to have this. We got to have this. I think to myself,
so he literally suffered from that fucking perfectionist problem of you never finish it because it's never good enough. Yeah. I'm definitely not doing that to myself.
Well,
for sure.
You could. You got to be careful, or you end up in that trap. Before you know it, you're doing it.
Here's why I'm like not rushing this by any stretch of the imagination, because I've done that 2 or 3 times. The one thing missing from my resume, other than opening for Metallica, right? When I was 12, when you sit down and you're 12 and you're like, if you were a smart kid, or you took advice from good people, at some point in time you should have made a physical list where you sat down with a pen and paper, preferably pen, not pencil.
Mine was crayon.
So you really have to think about it, because it's in pen now. You can't just erase it. Oh, I said that wrong. No, think about it before you write it. Seriously, that's why the pen is more important. Slow down. Write out the list of things you want to do. And I've done everything on that list except 3 things. I've never had a top 40 song on the radio. The reason I say top 40 song on the radio is because just having a song on the radio is a very, very wishy-washy goal. Because all you got to do is have a song played on a college radio station. Technically, it's the radio, right? It's FM. So no, it was a top 40. That's never coming even close to happening. One of the artists I was a jobber for,
eventually had a top 40 song on the radio, but then she disappeared. But it wasn't my song. Doesn't matter, right?
Have they found her yet?
Number 2, no.
Okay.
I think Dexter got her.
Okay.
Never opened for Metallica. But most important, because those are like dreams, but the most important realistic thing that never got checked off my resume was a really good sounding, good executed record I was proud of. Like a true record. And so whether you listen to the Dying Euphoria record I was on, whether you listen to the Solace and Ashes record, the demo we did, I have zero media in the world where people listen to it and go, wow, that shit's fucking dope, bro. Like everything you listen to that I'm on record of, you're going to be like, it's that like, okay, I kind of like his voice, or I don't like this, or this is weak, or like
I think your demo that you have is pretty good. Your current one.
The pre-production demo we have?
For pre-production,
it's promising. It's tight because it's quantized, whatever.
But it's getting there.
The
right?
best part about it is that your vocals are on pitch, which I was never able to do.
Yeah, just you just gotta listen. That's and we'll get there eventually. I get a lot of tries. To get it right. So I don't know how to use the auto tune, like the Melodyne. I don't know how to use that plugin properly.
Buying this mixer was a huge step, dude. Like, just so you know, like I've been listening to you. You've been on my ass. I've been hearing you, and so I had to kind of just really dig deep and think about, like you kind of said, these sound like excuses, right? No, they weren't. They were reasons, right? They weren't excuses. It's not okay. Yeah. So I had to go, all right, what can I do? Again, this is personal responsibility shit, right? What can I do? What am I not doing where I can legitimately take this project forward without depending on somebody else to fix it for me?
Yeah, that's the question you need to answer. What can you do? And I ask you all the time. I've said it from almost like, probably a little while in, like a month or two into this. I'm like, how to play drums. You played fucking drums in a band.
And I fucking slapped when I was on my game. Dude, I was dope.
The first Within the Tide album, I didn't know how to play fucking bass, but I'm like, I'm just going to do it on a synth. And it worked.
My favorite thing about being a drummer was which was not true, but I understand, especially now, I understand where Rich was coming from. I just start playing drums. I form the Tyrants. Rich hooks me up. We trade gear. So I trade him a bunch of shit. He gives me a drum set. 6 or 9 months later, we play a show, and Rich is there, and he's like, God damn it, you're already a better drummer than me. And which is definitely not true. I'm still to this day not a better drummer than him. But I knew what he meant, and I knew where he was coming from.
Sometimes he might not know how good he is, though. That could be part of that, too.
True, but I also understand what he meant about like how far I had come so fast. But then another 6 months later, I started having seriously legit drummers come up after shows and be like, dude, you're fucking dope, bro. They didn't say it in those words, but it was... I'll just use Jakey Poo. Jake Muley used to play bass for Reaping Asmodea, one of the greatest musicians I've ever met in my life. Him and I worked together at Guitar Center, and he came up after a show and he goes,
GC?
Yeah.
Which one?
Edina.
Okay.
And before it moved to Bloomington. And he came up after a show one time and he was like, dude, don't get me wrong. I never thought you sucked. But I've been listening to you play drums in the store for a long time, and I've never been impressed. Tonight, watching that, he's like, that's not the dude I see fuck around at the store. He's like, why don't you play like that at the store? And I was like, dude, because when we're at the shop, bro, like, that's not my moment. Like, I ain't trying to whip my dick out every moment I have. Like, I'm dope when it's time to be dope. Right?
That's like if you hear me singing around the house, I'm always just fucking around, pushing the boundaries, making my voice crack, like singing Disney songs or whatever, or just like singing things that I have no business singing, just to find out where the limits are, like just to push things or just to try something out. It's that same kind of thing, right? You're not in your moment where you're on your game, right? This is your thing that you're experimenting with. But when you're focused and when you know you need to, like, this is time to perform, it's different. So... That's why hearing a guy fucking around on a drum kit, that ain't the same as when he's actually like, when he's got that like flow mental state.
Well, and honestly, I still wasn't on the level yet at that point. Like, I was good at playing the parts that I had written and taken time to write. And I was able to improv through fuck-ups, but I wasn't a real drummer yet. Like, not like some of these motherfuckers right now where, like, you hear them jump on a drum set and they make that thing sound like a factory. You know, gears, pistons, fucking... Everything's just like... There's certain drummers, man, where as soon as they sit down and start fucking around, I'm just like... Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be that false humiliation where it's like, oh, I'm gonna hang up the drumsticks, there's no reason to go on. But it's just like, oh fuck, again, there's levels to this thing, and I'm nowhere close to where. And you know what's sad, brother, is I'm still better than a lot of drummers who are professionals.
Yeah, that happens.
Like, if you put me on a scale, I'm like maybe a 6, but there's 4s that are pros. That's the crazy thing.
No,
bro.
I agree. I've heard some drummers who aren't very good. At least, you know. But what if that's just not their moment? So what if that's just them fucking around? So there could be that time when they're by themselves and they're really doing their thing that they really want to do, and they could really be that good. Maybe we don't see it like they always play around their band.
No, I'm talking about like guys I've like fucked around with behind closed doors.
You've seen all the dimensions.
Yeah, and it's like, wow,
that's all different.
You're literally like you're a two-trick pony.
Yeah. No, for me,
how do you even have a job in the industry? But they do. And it's like, and then you see other guys who have a full deck and they can't get a job to save their lives.
For me, when I hear other musicians play, if I hear a good one, I don't think like, if I hear another good singer or another really like a really good drummer or something, for me it's a little different. I don't think, oh fuck, that dude's really good. I just think, oh god damn it, I want to make some music with that guy. Like, I'm like, oh, like when I watch a really good band that I've never seen before and they're on stage playing and I hear a really good song, I'm like, fuck, I want to jump up there and grab a microphone and sing with these guys. Yeah. So that's kind of how it works for me. It's kind of strange like that. One thing though you said earlier is how on your list of things that you wanted to do was open for Metallica. For me, I actually got to do I guess what would be the equivalent for me is I got to play with Filter, because they're kind of like my Metallica, right? So they're a pretty successable band, but their music...
Why Filter?
Because their music connects with me. It always did.
Interesting.
So
because they were a pretty big band.
Mm-hmm.
But
maybe not Metallica big, but you know what? I like their music more. So interesting. I mean, my favorite Metallica album is Legit Load, so I really liked that one, which I know I get a lot of grief for it. But then
Legit Load is my favorite Metallica album.
The Legit Load. So, like, legitimately, that is my favorite album. A lot of the other stuff, if I go back and listen to it now, I can appreciate it more, but it just doesn't resonate, doesn't connect to me that same way. Filter stuff did, though, from their first record all the way up to probably like their 4th or 5th. Like, sure. It's all been really good. Their newer stuff, it's out there a little bit. I just haven't listened to it as much to really give it a good opinion. But I'm pretty fortunate in that I got to do that. You know, like for me as a musician, the things I wanted to do were to have a band, to play First Ave Main Room, and open for Filter. That's all I wanted to do. And I've achieved all those things. So,
oh yeah, played First Ave Main Room. That's another thing. One of the very few stages in this town I haven't played, unless you want to go big time and start including Target Center and like that. Okay, then there's a bunch of them I haven't played.
I'm not worried about that. You know, if at the point where I want to play Target Center, like if that's a thing that I really want to do, yeah, I'm only going to do that if I'm in a position where that could be realistic. But for me, when I set out, I always knew like I could probably get myself to a point where I could play First Ave Main Room and open for Filter. So, and I did that, right? I try to set the bar at a point that I know I can achieve it, because then I can, you know, go for that next one rather than setting these unachievable dreams. And which has kind of got to do with like where you're talking about how you want to get things perfect. For me, it's more about just getting it done, right?
Yeah, I don't have to get it perfect, dude. I just got to get it good enough to where it's like, yes, that's good. That's legit. Let's put that out. Because I know it'll never be perfect and I'll never truly finish writing a song.
Okay. I understand.
You know, it's just like, but this is not good enough. I can do way better than this. And that's why I'm not laying down drums yet.
And that's the next album then.
I got another month or two of getting my chops ready at least.
All right.
By the time
I know a couple guys. If you really need somebody, if you're not feeling comfortable, I have 2 people in mind that I could. My brother is one of them. I won't say who the other person is because I got to check to make sure that he would be open.
I'll just mute it and then just say it. Hold on. All right, we're unmuted.
Who's really good? Like really, really good.
Okay.
Really good.
All right. So, yeah. Well, I would prefer not to do it. So
Yeah, I just, for me, I kind of like the idea of you doing it on the first record, and that's why I've been pushing it, because I think it will allow us to capture a more, I think the sound will be more from you, and that's what I want this to be, right? Because if you bring in another drummer, like you said, they're going to put their twist on it. What if we don't need that? We don't need that. We don't need all these flavors. Right now, we just need salt and garlic and butter.
I got you. I see what you're saying.
Need. Things will be delicious. If we throw in a little bit of cumin, yeah, it'll still be good. But you start to add too many things to it, and it'll just it could end up creating like a heterogeneity where you can't really taste the separate flavors anymore in that same way. I don't know. Maybe I'm making sense. Maybe I'm not. But I want to get this done.
I think I get what you're saying. I think I get it.
With first records, much like how I did the bass on synth on the first Wither record, I think it allowed that album to have a clearer vision of what I was trying to get across. Whereas the later ones, we had synth bass and a mix of Wally as a producer doing bass, which I think the songs were overall better. But for that first record, I really wanted to just get that raw, kind of unrefined sound across. And by doing the bass as synth, I think that helped.
Klaus says he's going to give Lars Ulrich a ring. He's going to see if Lars can do it. That'd be hilarious if you actually knew Lars Ulrich. If you actually knew Lars Ulrich, I would die. That would crack me the fuck up, dude. I would lose my shit.
I don't want to work with him just before we have like a couple jams together to make sure that our energy's good, because I don't know the dude. So how do I know if it's gonna work or not?
Here's the best part about this. Jeremy's fucking serious. Like I'm a big enough fan. I would take. Oh, dude, you know what? I forgot to do something. Hold on. I knew this wasn't looking right. Hold on.
I think that when you put a lot of people on a pedestal, but there's always one phrase that I've heard from my old man, which probably explains a lot of how I am. But my old man would say to me that, son, you see that guy up there? You see Eric Clapton up there? Or you see like Chris Cornell? The only difference between you and them is that they're up there and you're up here. So I kind of learned, like, don't put people on a pedestal. They're just people too, right? And we're all doing things right. They might be really good at what they do, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're better than anyone else, right? There could be people out there who are just as good at everything you do, because if there's one thing that's for sure, no matter how good you think you are, there's always someone better, and the only thing new under the sun is talent, right? So don't put people on a pedestal. Everybody's just a human, or well, probably a human. I've seen a few lizard people out there, I think.
There, I think that lighting's better. What do you guys think? Is the lighting better? I think the lighting's better. My camera angle's all fucked up. That's probably better now.
But if Lars has the opening, I mean, he knows how to drum in a studio, so tell him to come jam with us. We'll see.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, man. I'm a huge Lars Ulrich fan, and I would love to work with him on something. But I can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't think he can hack it, bro. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do not think Lars Ulrich can play the drums I'm writing.
That's possible. I mean, maybe this is his chance to expand his horizons and show everyone
Lars,
that he can.
I love you, buddy. I look up to you, and you've served as one of my biggest inspirations from a songwriting perspective, especially as a drummer. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. You haven't shown me a big enough deck. I mean, I have a shuffle. You've heard the demos. I have an entire verse section built on a shuffle. I've never once heard Lars Ulrich do anything even remotely hinting at the fact that he even can shuffle. And I'm not changing a part, like you said earlier, because we switched members. Like, no, you got to play the part that we wrote.
Well, here's a better question.
Or in this case, the part that I wrote.
Have you heard Metallica write a song that might be appropriate for Lars to play a shuffle?
Ooh, that's a really good point, dude.
Because maybe he's just never gotten a chance. Maybe nobody has ever given him the chance. But for all you know, right now, he's in his home studio and he's playing a shuffle, saying, God damn it, I'm waiting for the day. Somebody please ask me to come play a shuffle on their song, and I'm ready to go, right? It might be something like that. So just because you haven't heard him do it doesn't mean he can't. So there's that possibility.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, consider that, right?
Touché.
Because that's one thing too. When you hear people in only one band, all you're hearing is basically one facet of their ability, right? Unless it's like a band that has like changed styles all over the place. There's a few bands that have been kind of chameleons with their sound. Like, Radiohead, they went from kind of like their earlier albums, that there was that turning point with OK Computer, and then things after that just kind of got really, really wacky from there on out. So they've done a large change in their sound too, where we've gotten to hear more of the breadth of their ability.
That's a good point.
Has Metallica really done that to give him the chance to play a shuffle? I honestly don't know, because I haven't listened to them much. I've heard Load, and I didn't hear a place that a shuffle beat was really appropriate.
Listen, Cloth, I'll fucking tell you how to pronounce Lars's name, you son of a bitch.
Ulrich.
I know it's Ulrich, but no one pronounces it that way. So when you say Ulrich, everyone's like, you said it's Ulrich.
I thought you said Eldritch one of the times.
No, we're not talking about Neil Eldridge. Okay. By the way, shout out to Neil Eldridge. You should come on the podcast, bro. Your H is silent, Cloth. Actually, it's not silent.
Cloth
because then it'd be clot.
Cloth Kissin?
Clot, like blood clot. No, shout out to Cloth. Cloth is a very, very generous YouTube supporter.
Seems like a pretty cool dude. I want to know how to say
Patreon supporter.
I want to know how to say his name right. Eekson?
Yixon. I'm guessing it's Yixon.
Eekson or Yixon?
I bet it's Yixon.
I don't know, but that's cool.
Yixon.
I like how that name looks.
It's Russian as fuck, bro.
Whatever it is, I want to learn to say it right.
He's a retired snarpy. Or snarpy. Army sniper. Snarpy.
So tell me, Jared, he might be a retired snarpy too. I don't know what that is. So could be both.
I said snarpy.
So Jared, what the hell made you want to what made you want to write these songs? Like where did some of them come from?
Okay, I'll tell you in a second. I just got to switch something here. Hold on. This is driving me nuts. See if that's better.
Oh, also I drove here in my Miata today.
Oh.
Yeah, I was having a convo outside. I couldn't understand your neighbor that well, but he said something about how does the air conditioning work?
Yeah.
Is that the kind of question you usually get when you drive a convertible? I'm like, yeah, throw the roof down.
No, these motherfuckers are asking questions because they want to buy that shit. You roll up in that car, they're like, hey, does the AC work? Can I buy it?
I think
honestly, if you didn't come into this house, that thing would probably be stolen by the time you get out of here.
I left the key in it, so that's the first car that I've ever bought that has cost under $1,000, like ever. So, yeah,
good for you.
Yeah, well,
no wonder you were willing to let me borrow it.
Yeah, right. So I lent it out to everybody. It's like, hey, I was telling. Oh, so John Wheeler, like his Prius, his Toyota Prius, it died on him, right? And he's like, hey man, I was over at his house talking to him. He's like, yeah, now I got no car for a while. I'm like, hey, tell you what, man, if you need to go somewhere, just hit me up. I got this Miata. You can drive it anywhere. Just keep the top down.
What are you drinking, by the way, so we can answer Jeremy Blake seriously?
Oh, it's Nagori sake.
It's
unfiltered.
sake.
Yeah, it's sake.
Unfiltered Nagori sake.
Yeah. Did he not watch the first episode?
Probably
not. Like it was that.
Nobody watches this fucking podcast ever.
Oh, Jeremy Blake.
Here's the thing:
come back here and let's talk.
I can't believe
you and I need to know each other.
I can't believe we have any Patreon supporters because no one watches this podcast. But there's a few people that support the Patreon. Yes, one of them's my mother.
You know, I count parent support as something. It goes a really long way. So
my mom came out to my first handful of shows too, bro.
So anyways, I tell John he can borrow this car. So he's like, he actually hit me up. He's like, dude, can I borrow that car on Wednesday? I'm like, yeah, it's no problem at all. Like, just you can come take it, not an issue. I'm like, oh, one thing though, it's a manual. He's like, nope.
I love manuals, dude. They're so fun.
If you need to borrow a car, you can take the Miata. So
all right, someday if I got to go to a meeting, I'll hit you up.
Yeah.
Until I fix mine.
You got to be able to drive a manual. I'll lend it to you. It gets like
I just refuse to spend $900 on a plastic part from Audi.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm waiting to find a used part.
Yeah.
And I found one for $350 and I'm like, that's still too much.
I fixed up a 94 Audi S100. I resurrected it and they are wonderfully put together, but they're not built for repairing. Is kind of what I found, even back on the older 91s like that.
The A6 seems to be fine. Like the A6 seems to be fine. The A4, it's annoying.
Just go to a junkyard, man. Did you try checking a junkyard for this part? Anybody out there go to junkyards? I mean, there's
I haven't. That's a great idea. I should. But the problem is here, especially if you're talking like a U-Pull. If you're talking about U-Pull, I mean, you're right. A great option, but it's like an hour and a half from here.
A good friend of mine,
they have it.
A good friend of mine goes to the U-Pull in East Bethel called U-Pull
That
Art
is
Parts.
not close to here.
East Bethel?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's a long drive.
It's what I was getting at. Like, yeah, it's your point is valid. It's a long fucking way. But god damn it, you're gonna go there, you're gonna pull their parts, you're gonna save yourself $900.
If they have it. That's the thing, is if it's sitting there. And it probably won't be, because most of the engines have been pulled out of those.
One of the junkyards I used to go to when I needed new seats for the Miata, I actually hit them up for seats, and they had a Miata with seats, but those seats had returned to the earth.
No shit.
I wasn't taking those. It wasn't any good.
I gotta grab a pack of smoke.
All right.
I only had 2 when we started this.
So I guess I'll tell the origin story of how Jared and I met. So the year was probably 2007 or so. I was singing in a local metal band called Buried by Hope, and we were way better than his band. So much better. We were about equal, to tell you the truth. I thought we were better, but only because I was singing in the band. So had I been singing in your band, I would have thought your band was better.
Musically, your music was way more catchy. Like, it was better written music. We were a thrash metal band / metalcore band. We were far more entertaining live, but you guys were probably the better songwriters as far as writing catchy shit until I left the band. When Joe left the band, or when Joe joined the band, that's when Dying Euphoria's songwriting went to another level. Jeremy started writing songs that lended themselves to vocals like Chad had been doing for you for years.
No. Chad didn't write songs that lended themselves to vocals. I just know how to sing over anything. So that's what it was, Jared. Can everybody hear? I'm just really I'm being humble tonight too, just so you know. So this is
Jeremy Blake finally chimed back in. He says, it was a legit question. I was originally just going to ask if you were drinking horse semen and then say I prefer the soothing froth of bull semen. Then I realized I haven't seen or spoke to you.
Yeah, see, I knew. I was picking up on...
In a very long time. So I better break the ice in a less weird way first. No, that's what... Dude, this is why it's hilarious, Jeremy. Because on the first podcast... I told him he was drinking cum the whole time. The whole time I just kept giving him shit. Especially in his angle. You can see the top of the glass, how it frosts his oh god, it's so nasty, bro. I don't know how you can do
Mr. Blockade, just you can always call me and talk to me.
It's pronounced black.
Mr. Black, unless it's beyond 1 a.m., I'm always up for a conversation. So we can always talk. I'll tell you a couple things, and we can get to know each other a little bit.
So 2007, you're in Buried by Hope. You're writing better music than us.
No, the story's done.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, no, you came back, so
Gotcha.
This is that's an intermission story that will only be continued when you have to step away.
My favorite story between the two of us. It's a combination of 3 different stories. That's really one long story. So you beat us at one Battle of the Bands. We play another show together.
I thought you won the Battle of the Bands.
The first one you guys beat us.
Oh, sorry.
Actually,
I'm just so used to losing Battle of the Bands.
Actually, I think technically we placed 3rd. You guys placed 2nd. And some other random ass band no one had ever heard of somehow won, and they never did anything with their careers. Trust me, I remember that because no one knew who they were, and they never did anything after that. And then we played a show.
It was Head Charge, right?
No, it was some literally. It was some random band, some rock band, some they weren't even hard rock. It was weird. Jeremy might remember. It was at the Rock nightclub, but regardless, a couple weeks later we play another show together. You and I meet these 2 absolute babes. I'm super into one.
Those dudes?
You're super into another one. They're both super into the respective one of us, right? So there's no conflicts. Everything's great. I'm talking to one, you're talking to the other one, and then the girl I'm fucking around with tells me that your girl is a sociopath, a pathological liar, and a literal thief. So I tell you that story. That bombs your relationship with her. You get mad at me. We stop talking for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Then all of a sudden, Bill Berry hits us up for a rigged battle of the bands at a casino. You're supposed to win. We're supposed to finish second. We show up. There's nowhere near enough people there. Everyone unanimously votes for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We said this. We talked about this last time. Even I voted for you. Yeah. I went up and voted for you, just thinking like, man, we'll just see what happens.
And Bill talked to us afterwards. He goes, "Dude, it was unanimous dying euphoria."
I think Chad and Bob and Jason and Rich and we all voted for you probably.
But here's the crazy thing: is the 30 people that were there in the crowd also voted for us. Here's the deal: it was supposed to be rigged for you to win. So Bill looks at the stats and looks at everything with everyone and goes, "It's a tie." And they go, no, Dying Euphoria won. And he goes, "No, it's a tie. I have," what was it like? "I hold 50 votes."
Well,
I think that's what he said, is because the judges had X amount of votes, and he made it up at the end that the judges panel had enough votes to overrule the crowd vote. And the way it went down is he said it was a tie, and I just remember Chad from Buried being so fucking mad that he got screwed over, and like discussions started happening behind the scenes, like we were gonna secretly give him the money they were supposed to get, and I remember being like, "No, fuck that shit. I finally won something, you motherfuckers." Because, dude,
don't take this away from me.
Dude, I won the state championship as a baseball player in school, and then have finished second.
Hey, question.
In everything in my
Sean
entire
Hill
life.
was on here, did you talk about baseball?
No, I don't.
You didn't talk about baseball with Sean?
I don't think we had time. I don't think it came up. We never have enough time to get to everything the first time someone's on.
Sean Hill is a base. Dude can throw like at his peak, which might not even been his peak. He could throw like a 96 mile per hour fastball.
That's insane.
It is fucking crazy.
Dude, because like at my best, I threw an 88 mile an hour fastball, which is
that's pretty fast.
It is incredibly fast. Like if you can throw,
you've got lanky arms. You get that mechanical. You get that mechanical movement right.
Yeah, and then I have long legs, so I really know how to drive and twist my hips and generate extra. It's the same thing that makes me good at disc golf and good at fighting and blah, blah. Anyways, it was just absolutely hilarious because at 88 it was like, dude, that's fast enough to pitch in the majors.
Well, but I was still not good enough. 34 mile per hour fastball.
96 is insane. I guarantee you can't throw 94. I guarantee.
I said 34.
Oh, 34. I thought you said 94.
94. No, God, I can barely even drive 94.
I'm like, there's no way. There's no way you could throw 94.
No.
I wouldn't have believed Sean could throw 96 either. If he would have told me that, I would have been like, no way.
Dude,
I would have told him. I would have told him 86. No, because I would have immediately overestimated my above average abilities and been like, dude, I was super good, and I at my best through 88. Right? Yeah.
Sean's tall, and he's got a lot of power.
He's thick too.
He's got a lot of power.
Thick too. Yeah. He's not just tall and lanky like me.
He's not thick. He's athletic. It's a difference.
No. You're not thick means like I'm tall, but I'm lanky.
Yeah.
He's tall and like proportionately.
Yeah, he's athletic,
thick,
because he really could do that.
Like so that dude. Wow. That dude probably wears a 36.
Sean, he's got a narrower waist than that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Because that shit matters, dude. Like your center of gravity, that shit really matters, dude.
I don't know, Sean, chime in here. What size are your pants? So I'm not going to speak for him, but
I bet you Sean wears a 34 or 36. I'm anywhere between a 30 and a 32, depending on who makes the pants.
I just call.
I got a small waist, bro. I'm not a thick dude.
Here, I'll call Sean.
Yeah, call Sean. Give me your phone once you do it too.
Yeah. See if I remember it right, too. 96. Gosh, I'm hoping that's right, because I don't want to write a check that he can't cash. He hung up on me immediately.
That means he's watching, and he's like, fuck these guys.
Let's try again.
No, that means he's watching.
No, my phone. Let's try this once more.
Are you on iPhone?
Nah.
Plug that in.
See if it'll pick up. Yeah, right, because I still have a jack on here.
Oh, you got to get your case off. Not in far enough. You got to put your case on. Take your case off. He hung up on you.
No, he didn't. I'm getting an error. Nope, no good.
I don't have my phone on me, otherwise I'd call him. What happened to my fucking phone? Who cares? Dude, 96 is insane. That's incredible. Even if it's 86, that's incredible. Because like I said, at my absolute peak, before I threw my shoulder out, I was still in my physical prime, so I'm 27, 28, and you know what I mean? I got everything going.
Right.
Boom, 88.
But you weren't Sean Hill.
That was my best. That was my best.
At my physical peak, I could still only throw a 34-mile-per-hour fastball.
I bet you can throw a lot faster than that.
My arm will go with it.
No, I bet you at a minimum you can throw 74.
I don't think so.
Dude, there is a huge strength difference. Like most men can throw a 70-mile-an-hour object, like a baseball, right?
That's pretty fast.
It's pretty fucking fast, but it's not as fast as you think for a baseball.
Does anybody else out there know how fast they can throw things?
Dude, let me put it this way. When I was 12, 13 years old, I was throwing 77.
At 13?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's not as fast as... Like, every grown man can throw in the 70s. 100%.
Okay.
And then
I don't think I can.
But here's the crazy thing is from 78 to 88, it's like each one is its own level. Like, I can throw.
Oh, there's Sean. He's calling.
Oh, there you go. Take your case off and plug that
Sean,
phone in.
You got me?
I do.
Okay. Hey, okay, I've got a question for you, all right?
Hold that speaker up to the mic if you're going to do that.
Am I on the podcast?
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Phone on the podcast?
Yeah. Okay. So I was talking to Jared, and I said he somehow spoke of baseball, and I said, did you talk to Sean about baseball when he was on here? And he said no. And I said, dude could throw a fucking crazy fastball. Could you? It was like 96 miles per hour that you could throw, right?
I wouldn't say 96. I would say in high school I was clocked at 90.
Okay.
And
still incredible.
I probably got to college. I could throw harder, but I stopped playing seriously at that point.
Okay.
At 90 is what I could throw in high school.
Okay,
that's incredible.
Me exaggerating to 96 is within the 10 mile per hour.
No, that's a huge difference,
dude. A little bit of a variance there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Sean, listen, Sean is a mathematician, statistician. It's been probably 20 years since he told me that. I think 96 is close enough.
It's not.
I mean,
it's
I can
not.
appreciate you rounding up to 96.
That's a huge difference.
Okay. And then also,
but
also,
Sean, to be fair, I did say at my best, I never peaked 88. That was my best I ever had.
Well, that's also a pretty impressive number.
That's what I was trying to explain. Is 88 is an extremely high number, like good enough for the majors. Greg Maddux threw 88, but to hit 90 or above is insane. So the fact that you hit 90,
I would say mostly I was throwing high 80s. I would say I'd have to really rear back, and a Razor gun did catch me at 90. But I would say most of the time
that's
I was
legit.
Right there with you at 88.
That's legit, because here's the deal: is what you just said. That was me at 88. If I'm on a regular, I'm between. At best, I probably threw an 84, 85 mile an hour fastball on a regular basis at best. So that's what I was saying, is at 26, 27, in my physical prime, before I threw my shoulder out, throwing as hard as I fucking could. Maybe I know for a fact I hit 88. But that was literally everything I had in the tank. And I did that probably once or twice back to back, and then you're gassed, or at least I was.
Yeah.
Which, Sean, I told Jared I could throw like a 34 mile per hour fastball. He's like, oh, you can throw a 70. I'm like, yeah, my arm will go with it, because I fucking cannot. Yeah, the changeup. Yeah, I've got the changeup fastball at like 34. All right, Sean, so here's the next question. We then asked about your pant size. He thinks you wear a 36. I'm like, no, he's more like
guaranteed.
A 32.
Guaranteed you wear a 36.
What size pants?
That's an interesting
So we'll go back to when I would check your pant sizes in your 20s. Yeah.
Started at a 32, moved to a 34. Now I'm definitely at 36.
Told ya! Nah. Suck it, nerds!
Okay.
Woo!
Well, listen, the Sean that I knew was a 32, which means that if he threw a couple more 90 mile per hour fastballs, he'll be right back to a 32, 34.
All right. Let's wrap this up.
All right. Hey, thanks, Sean.
I'll just spend the next 10 years of my life getting back to that point.
Oh, you bounced back quick. I seen you before, Sean. All right. Hey, thanks, Sean.
Yeah, no, good luck with the podcast. I look forward to seeing
I'm going to need a lot of luck to get through
We're
this.
We're live now, bitch.
Right.
Tune in.
He's busy. Later, Sean.
No one's too busy for this podcast.
I'm going to tell you a little bit more baseball. So
no one's too busy for this podcast. I just want to acknowledge the fact that in one podcast I've completely contradicted myself, and in one breath saying no one's too busy for this, and also in the same podcast saying no one watches this.
Okay, so I'm going to
inferring everyone's too busy.
Well,
for
we're
this.
talking about baseball. So the original bassist of Wither the Tide, which it was Sean. It was Sean on guitar and my friend J-Web on bass. When we were in our early 20s, he all of a sudden decided he wanted to learn to throw a knuckleball, and he ended up making it to the major leagues.
Wow!
For a Texas team.
No shit.
Or sorry, not majors, but minor. So, which is still a professional baseball team, right? He was paid. He went there. It wasn't full major, but within like a couple of years, dude got there. Like he learned to throw a knuckleball. And he did it.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. So I had two pitchers, and
the knuckleball is the hardest pitch to hit in baseball. They say the hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
So Sean,
which is technically true.
Yeah,
I get that, but in baseball, the hardest pitch to hit, which totally contradicts the first thing I said, but just hear me out, is a knuckleball, because a knuckleball never gets delivered the same way twice.
Because they don't spin, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
and
until the very end they break.
They definitely break.
J-Web again.
They definitely break at the end because they lose speed and velocity, right? But because they don't spin properly in any specific direction, it's a 100% unique pitch to the batter every time. It's also the hardest pitch to throw in baseball.
Yeah, he learned to do it. And he actually, because it's so hard to learn to do, there's not a lot of people out there doing it, right? And he did it. And he made it to a minor league team for in Texas somewhere.
Bro.
He went, and I'm like, you're really going? He's like, yeah.
Dude,
like,
when guys get known as a knuckleball pitcher, it's almost the only pitch they throw.
It's probably what he did.
Because
I can't
it's
speak
so
for him, though.
hard to hit. Because even when you throw it as hard as you can, it might go 90 mile an hour one time and 70 mile an hour the next time.
Yeah.
Like it's a crazy weird pitch, dude. The knuckle. It's also virtually impossible to control, which is why
Jeremy Blake
if you can actually do it.
Jeremy Black says that he can throw a baby pretty fast. And now what I'm thinking of, like, he's in a burning house.
Is that why you've never had a kid?
And he's like running out. Is
that why Jeremy Blake still doesn't have kids?
So he's running out the house, and the house is burning, and shit's falling down behind him. Like timbers are falling behind him. One's coming right at him, and he knows this is it. He's not going to make it, but he's got to get this baby out. And he throws this baby. And then a giant piece of burning timber falls on him, and that's the end. But he threw that baby, and the baby survived to become Jeremy Block the second. So the baby was renamed.
It's Jeremy Black.
Jeremy Black, sorry. We'll get it
Don't
here.
be disrespectful.
Geronimo Black.
Montoya.
Geronimo Black.
Just because you have a phonically easy to pronounce name doesn't mean you can make fun of our
right.
Doesn't mean you can make fun of our buddy Jeremy Black.
Yeah,
you son of a bitch.
Yeah, my last name is it's spelled just like it sounds, but it's still very difficult for people to get right sometimes. So just like anything, like I can barely say your name sometimes. Ja.
You fucking
Rule.
Ja Rule? Stupid.
So we'll get there. We'll get there sometime.
So what else do you want to talk about?
That's
dude?
Our baseball segment.
We got so much time.
Okay, I'm ready to
talk about so much because we did a lot of the intro shit last time. That's what I hope people understand when you guys tune into the podcast multiple times. Is like the first time these guys come on, I really try. Doesn't mean I accomplish this, but I really try to get you guys to kind of tell your story, where you came from, where you came up, your influence. The second time we can just talk about whatever the fuck. So what else is up on your mind? Because you've been wanting to come back on for a while. So
yeah,
with all the shit that's been going on, man, like what else do you want to talk about? What else has been on your mind? You got anything you want to talk about specifically?
Yeah,
like
first,
like, your vehement support of the Taliban, or
they said they changed. They told me they changed, right?
No, there's a lot of people that let's give them the benefit of the doubt because they're not the Taliban that we once knew. Yeah. Because they used to ban the internet, and now they're on TikTok.
So, Jared, I want to talk to you about something that's very difficult for you to deal with.
Until that female, hold on, I gotta say this.
We are going to speak.
Until that female report, I just thought that was hilarious. Oh yeah, the Taliban changed because now they're using TikTok. Like literally while it's all going down, CNN has a female reporter walking down the street. She's first of all escorted by men with AK-47s, right? Second of all, she's being approached and harassed by other men with AK-47s. Some are already calling her a whore because she has her face uncovered. She still has the whole headdress on, but her face hasn't been covered.
Shouldn't she have a mask on for COVID anyways?
I'm not going there.
All right.
But then she starts talking to this one guy, and then another guy, and everybody keeps, and all of a sudden the translator finally goes, they don't want to talk to you because you're a woman. So like immediately all the shit that we thought they had made progress on. No. Oh man. Like how are we so naive that we think the world and people and cults, that's what it really is. It's like the Catholic religion, right? It's like the evangelicists here in America. It's like they're cults, dude. They're fucking cults, man.
People just want something to believe in. That's all they want. They want to belong. People want something to believe in. They want to belong, and they want a purpose because they can't find one.
Yeah, but the problem I have is like they literally dictate by their own personal interpretation of a religion what you can do with your life and your choices and your thoughts. That shit gets dark super quick for me. Like I ain't into any of that shit, dude.
That'll be for
call me a privileged American if you want, man, but like my wife can leave the house without me.
Listen, I lost so many weekends to Sunday school that it's just like every Sunday morning it's like I wanted to stay up until, so here I am. Here's a 12-year-old Jeremy. He just got his Super Nintendo. I want to stay up all night playing Contra 3 and Castlevania 2. Here it is, like 11 p.m. My mom's like, you got to go to bed, Jer. And I'm like, why? She'll say, because you need to go to Sunday school in the morning and learn about the Bible. And all that I remember about the Bible is that it cost me all of my Sunday mornings and that the Song of Roland was pretty much porn. So that's mostly what I remember. But that's a lot of selective memory. Now, Jared, we're going to talk about something that's very, very difficult for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready, baby.
We're going to talk about things that we're bad at. I'm going to go first.
Oh, things I'm bad at?
No, me first.
I have a long list.
Things that
I want you to go first because I have a
first.
long list, so I got to figure out what's like the juiciest thing to review.
Oh, no, we could save that for the last one. We're going to talk about things that we're bad at. We're going to start early, okay? So things that I'm bad at, pottery. I'm fucking terrible at pottery. I just get that shit everywhere, and that pot looks more like a pretzel, so it's no good. How about you? How good are you at pottery?
I'm fucking dope at pottery, bro. That's not something I'm bad at, man. I'm like probably top 10 in the world at pottery, bro. I'm so good at pottery. I make penis-shaped pottery with my penis.
I hope we got some pottists.
Oh, sorry.
Potters.
I just got deranked by YouTube. Sorry. I make
you know, there's a mushroom.
I make bong pottery with my bong.
Yeah. There's a mushroom that just looks like a bong, that looks exactly like a bong, called a stinkhorn. So look up a stinkhorn mushroom. Yeah, that it is.
I got a question for
mushroom.
you. I got a question for you.
Tell me something you're bad at.
Do you think there's a correlation between what a penis looks like and what mushrooms look like?
Yeah, they have to pierce through the ground because that's the fruiting body. It has to go up and then stay up. It can't come back down below or it won't be able to spread the spores. That's the fruiting body. The main organism lives down below. If you ever dig one up, you'll find like all this like webbing and stuff underneath in the mulch. Just like a dong has to puncture.
Okay, here's something I'm bad
spores.
At. All right. Here's something I'm bad at. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to pick some bullshit.
Or we ate mushrooms, and that's the influence still on us, and we're all just on a massive, like, species-long, generational-long trip, and that's the mushrooms joke.
Okay.
Every time you look down, you're going to see me.
Here's something I'm bad at.
That's what that mushroom said.
Here's something I'm bad at. I am bad at staying focused on the actual mission unless my life is on the line, right? Like I'm really good in like really bad crazy shit. I'm really good in those situations.
Like a house on fire.
Right. Not talking about those. I'm talking about mundane situations, like day-to-day life, maintaining monotony. As soon as something bad happens in my life, for example, recently when my dad went to the hospital because he had the aneurysm and the strokes, right? Like, I feel like personally, I used that as an excuse to allow myself to derail my fucking life and not get the podcast uploaded. And I allowed it as like, almost as if I had an injury. Like an emotional injury. Like, think if you broke your leg, no one's going to be mad at you that you don't run every day. You got a broken leg, right?
Except for your running partner.
Even them. You have a broken leg. You can't run every day. It's not a reasonable ask. It's just not.
Yeah.
I used my dad. This is what I just feel is I used my dad and I use other bad situations in my personal life as an emotional injury to give myself an excuse to be a self-destructive, degenerate loser. That's what I'm bad at. Now you go.
Gosh, I don't
respond to that.
No, so that's a thank you. That is really truly something that you're bad at. So I agree. I'm really bad at being anywhere on time. Anywhere, anytime. So ever. Even when it's like if somebody is dying, like literally when my dad...
I feel like these are unequal, proportionate confessions.
No,
I'm bad at pottery and being on time. I'm bad at being a good, productive human being.
No, that makes me bad at being a productive human being. So if you know me, like, I'm so bad at being on time that...
Keep going. I got to take a leak.
When I was like in my 20s, I'd tell people I'd be there. I'd show up 6 hours late. So... like that kind of stuff. Right. Yeah. It cost me a lot of relationships. All right. So I'll get back to what was the story? Hey, what was the story going to be for when you're away? Should I talk about how we met?
I don't know. You tell me.
All right.
2007, I hope.
Oh, right. So it was 2007. It was Buried by Hope. We did a battle of bands, but Jared and I, there's one conversation in particular that sticks out. We were hanging out in my second gen RX-7. We were talking, and he told me like all these great things, like these things about his understanding, these things about where he comes from, and we both understood that basically we just want to be the best at what we're doing at the same time. So he was with this girl and he really liked her. I was with the girl and I really liked her at the time too. All that kind of stuff. We had moments. It's just the thing is, like, as much as the words may have mattered. For me, with the person I am, it was more the imagery around it, right? Like the smells and like the lighting and the feel and everything. It was a very impacting moment, just like the way he... So there's something, if you've ever heard another person talk to you in a language that you can't understand, when you hear it, it doesn't matter what they're saying, it matters how they're saying it. And it wasn't even if... It was what he was... It was what he was saying, but it was how he was saying it, how I heard it. And that's really what stood out to me. Like, there he was, like, and I heard it in his voice. All right, you're back. The story's done.
The fuck were you just talking about?
Yeah, I can't tell you.
I seen you, like, lower your voice and get closer to the microphone, so I had no idea what was happening while I was gone.
Oh, so Jeremy Black looked up the stinkhorn. It's a dick. It's an earth dick. Go ahead and sit your butt right down on that. Have some fun. So let me tell you something. That stinkhorn, it popped up right at my front stoop. It was like, you are fucked. That's what it said to me. And it smells really bad. So here's the thing. Like, for the first, like, hour that it's out there, it has this wonderful, like, shroomy aroma. Like, that smells good. And then something happens. You notice all these flies flying in. And then you look at it, and it's, like, juicy. And suddenly there's flies everywhere, and it smells like... You ever leave a bag of chicken in the fridge too long? You were thinking, I'm going to make that chicken on Thursday night. But here you are 2 Thursday nights from that night. And you open that bag of chicken up, and you're like, oh, shit, I ain't making that chicken Thursday night. That shit's going out. So that's what the stinkhorn was like, except for it looks like a dick. So, yeah, look it up.
All right, well, I'm back. I hope you guys enjoyed that segment.
It's good to hear you, like, kind of open up and talk about something that you're truly bad at. And it's hard for me to get to a point like that. But really, my timeliness is.
I have
on
no
that level.
shame. That's my thing. I have no shame.
Yeah, why would you?
Like,
All
here's
that
who
does
I
is
am,
make you
motherfucker.
less
Good
of
or
a
for worse,
person.
take it or leave it, bitch.
Yeah.
Suck it.
Nah. Shame isn't going to do anybody any good. All that does is help you to feel bad. If you feel like feeling
or it
bad,
builds a facade.
right?
Or it builds a facade, like
Or it
oh,
causes a complex.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Just don't feel bad about who you are, unless you're like,
That's why
the
I don't
worst
trust
person ever. And in that case, try to figure out why.
That's why I don't trust people who've never been drunk or high or inebriated.
Or
100% sober your whole life. What are you hiding?
Right. When you meet that weird white neighbor who they're like, "Hi, my name is
Why has he got to be white,
Tim
bro?
Smith," and okay.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, tell you what, he didn't have to be, but he was. Okay, he's like, "Oh, all I do is I go to work, and then when I get home, I drink a Miller High Life, and then I watch the golf." And he goes to bed. It's like, yeah, if you don't have a little bit of eccentricity going on, or something weird, like you watch golf, but then you drink way too much, and then you think you're in the fucking PGA, and you swing your club through that TV every time. I don't know if we can.
He
be
didn't
friends.
have to be white. He just happened to be.
Yeah, he just happened to be. It's fine. So that's just what happened. All right, man. So you never had Jinro before, right?
No, what is it?
I don't know. It's what's in this bottle. Let's find out together.
Do we need ice?
No. You just do a little shot glass of it.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Is there booze in it? Oh, there's a lot of booze in it.
Not as much
It's
as you
like
think.
wine. Yeah, I'm reading it, bro. It's 12% alcohol. It's basically wine.
It's not a spirit, but it's not sake. So
Is it carbonated?
no, it's flat. That's
So
what I
no
remember
ice?
anyways. No ice needed.
So it's basically wine.
It's syrupy though.
It's super alcoholic.
It's syrupy like a liqueur. So
Okay. Well, maybe we should do some ice and water it down.
sure, let's go for it. So now that he's gone, anyways. So
Not gone, you bitch. I'm right here. All right, let's do this. Let's play. I'm gonna play the song we've been writing. Well, the song we wrote a long time ago already. And,
but I think about
but
it every
it's
day
from
still.
the project that we're working on and we're currently writing. A lot of people, honestly, dude, I've sent this to a lot of industry cats, dude, and a lot of people are really excited for us to finish this.
Yeah.
The only person who's ever given any like negative opinions, and I actually kind of got off on it, like literally it made my wiener twitch a little bit, was Patrick from 93X. Goes, I'm gonna be honest with you, if I was still running 93X, I wouldn't play this right now. And I go, why? And he goes, because it doesn't sound like anything. And I go, what do you mean by that? And he said, he goes, what's popular right now? You got Greta Van Fleet and you got Five Finger Death Punch, and those two ideas. And I go, that's why it's fucking dope, bro. It's because it doesn't sound like either of those two cunts.
Did he just speak of them on a Greta Van Fleet? They're fine, but
because that's what's popular. So you got to think.
Who?
You got to think from his perspective as a former station director, right? His job is to predict what people are going to want to listen to. So you either got to be in the grain or completely against the grain, right? And when I confronted him on that, I go, that's why it's dope, because it doesn't sound like anybody, because we actually have an original sound. He literally paused. I thought I lost him. I thought the call got any, and I go, are you still there? And he goes, yeah, I'm here. You might actually be right. You might be right. Like, this might be exactly super dope because it doesn't sound like anybody. So that's what we're gonna play, you guys. There's a bunch of industry cats that I've sent this to touring musicians. Everybody's really excited for this to come up.
I'd like to actually talk to Patrick just about.
He's coming on the podcast when he comes to town.
Yeah, it's got to be so different, because I think.
Oh man, him and I are gonna have to do like an 8-hour podcast, and we're gonna have to bust it up.
Yeah, bring me in here. Bring me in John Wheeler.
Maybe.
Yeah, bring me in here.
Here's what I'm thinking.
I'll bring you sandwiches.
Here's what I'm thinking with Patrick when he comes on. I'm thinking we're gonna have to do an entire day. So we're gonna do like a 2-hour podcast, then take a break, maybe go get some lunch, then come back, do like another 2-hour podcast, take another break, maybe go get some dinner, and then do another 2-hour podcast, and then bring everybody in for like a fucking party.
Yeah.
Like a fucking straight up party. Like, it's me, Patrick, and we just rotate in people to sit in this third or fourth chair all night long. just fucking and just
I'm
let
one
her
of the few
roll.
people that's been in the
Patrick,
scene
if you're
since,
watching this, let me know what you think of that idea.
So I've been in the scene probably since I don't know when did Patrick start like Loud and Local?
He didn't.
Do we know the year? Or when did he inherit or take it on? Right? When did he?
So
begin doing it?
I apologize. I apologize. He did start Loud and Local.
Okay.
And I've talked to him about this, but I think it was 98.
Okay, so I started in the scene in 98.
Patrick, if you're watching right now,
with
I should just call him. Hold on.
So
I'm gonna go get this ice. We're gonna play this song. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's play the demo we've been working on. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Oh my god. Let's play the fucking demo we finished
on local music. Gosh, but he probably shouldn't say it out loud.
So let's do this. Let's play the demo we finished from the album we're working on. When we come back, we'll have ice. We'll pour this shit, and I'm gonna call Patrick and see if he jumps on, and maybe we can get him on the podcast, and we'll do a little phone thing. Because with the new mixer, it's way easier to do. This is, what are we calling this song? Jeremy, what did you name this song?
It was like Closing In?
Was it Closing In or Closer Now?
Yeah, it's probably Closing In.
I don't fucking know, dude. This is hilarious.
I was checking the time because I wanted to know how late it is, only because I don't stop, and I want to see if I've met my expectation.
And hold that cloth. We'll get to that question when we get back here. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's this one, dude. Pretty sure this is it.
Revolution not worth having.
All right. So yeah, dude. Fucking when we get this, because this is what we've been able to do, and none of us, me, you, Dalton, that's who's involved with this. Everything, what they just heard, that's me, you, and Dalton, and we have no idea what we're actually doing when it comes to production. And we got it to that point. And that's still not our A game. So when we bring in a guy like Wally to really produce this album, to get it to that next level, dude, I'm super excited, bro. Because I already know from having Wally on the podcast and being tight with both of you, I already know how well the two of you work together. And I already know what's missing from my portfolio and why I want a team like you and Wally and Dalton and other people than just me. Because I see what it's going to be, dude. And I'm fucking pumped. We just got to get there. And now we are waiting on me. We're not waiting on another drummer anymore. Because I said, fuck it, dude. I'm tracking the drums.
When it comes to Wally and like recording my voice, he understands it better than I.
Tastes like Bacardi Limon.
Yeah, it kind of does. This Jinro.
It's pretty good. Cheers, buddy.
He understands my voice better than I understand. Okay, so let me say this. I know like the feel of what I'm trying to do, right? But he knows how to capture it. He knows how to understand how my voice sounds better, like throughout all the ranges. He's figured it out because he and I have been working together for, gosh, like almost 10 years now. So, or maybe it is 10 years. He's recorded 4 albums with me at this point. So we've developed my voice over those years, right? And really for me, it's like, it wasn't until I started recording and listening back in like 2006 when I really figured out my own sound, right? And I knew there was something there, but I couldn't really capture it fully until I went to work with Wally. He really had it. Working with Barry by Hope and everything, unfortunately, we never got that record done. And damn it, I wish we could have.
You guys had a demo.
We had a demo, but none of that was ever up to what it could have been, right? So, and they sounded good, don't get me wrong. If I go back and listen to those, it's like,
did you not finish the record because Bobo died? Is that the only thing that got in the way of that, or was that just one thing among many?
That's one thing. Really, we could have had that record done 1 to 2 years before that happened. It's just we never got to it for whatever reason. And for me, it's like you got to get that record done. Like you don't have to release it necessarily, but as a band, that is hurdle number 1 is like get all the members in the band and write songs. Number 2, record the record. After you have the record recorded, then you can release it, you can tour on it, you can do whatever, right? You can sell it. Then you have a product, something that people can take with them beyond the live show. Chad knew that, so we were able to get a very like high quality demo, but we never got to the full production. We had a good demo though. I mean, it was decent. Like we had something for people to go home with, which gave us a lot of opportunities, but we never finished that full record. And I really, that is my one regret that I had with that band, is that we never got to do that. Like everybody could have heard what we were capable of, because what you heard on that demo, a quarter of what could have happened. So later though, then Wither came along and I started working with Wally. I just remember like I thought to myself, finally somebody who like not only will they listen, but for me when I go into the studio, I'll sing something, right? And then I've worked with other producers where I sing something and they're like, "Oh, it sounds good." I'm like, "No, that didn't sound good. My pitch was wavering a little bit, and you're an idiot. We need to go and fix that." Or they'll be like, "Oh, it sounds off pitch," and I'm like, "No, that's just vibrato. Like, put it through the Melodyne, you'll see it's all staying there. You'll just see it's vibrato." But Wally gets it, right? He gets like that.
So he knows when you're bending, when you're playing,
right?
When you're
right, because
strong.
he doesn't look from an objective point of view only. He's looking at how the voice sounds with the particular part in the song. So with that, he's able to understand a lot of things that come across. Like, yeah, there's times when I'm going to slide, and through that slide, I might go a little flat or a little sharp as I reach to the note. But he understood that, and really working through that, like he and I over the years have been able to develop my voice on record to a point that it sounds close or right on to what I hear in my head. I mean, it's taken time. So even in the demo that we just listened to, you can hear that's things that I've learned from working with Wally in the studio over that time, like kind of how to execute some of that. Granted, it's the baby version. So,
and let's give Dalton a little bit of props too for mixing that, because that's something you sent the stems to Dalton to. He literally just put it on top of what we had already recorded.
Yeah. Yeah, and he did a good job.
Pretty impressive for what, and I hope people understand what they just heard. What they just heard is a pre-production demo. So this is as close to a finished idea as it comes before it's finished. However, when you hear the finished idea, it may be dramatically different than this. It might be a carbon copy and just executed at a higher level. It might just sound a little different because of the production. But that's what production demos do for you, is they allow you to go in and listen to your idea in full 1,000,000 times, hyperbolically 1,000,000 times, until you find something you can do better or something you don't like, or you identify that is exactly what needs to be on that record. A pre-production demo is arbitrary and subjective. Somebody came on the podcast once and asked me, I asked them, have you done a pre-production demo? And they asked me what that is. I explained it. And then they go, and what am I looking for? And I was speechless, because I was like, it's up to you. Like, only you get to decide what stays and goes from your pre-production demo.
Right.
You may show it to a ton of people and get 1,000 pieces of advice, but you need to understand you might need to ignore 999 of those pieces of advice. There's only one piece of advice out of 1,000 that's applicable.
Right.
Most of the time it's you listening and critiquing your own shit. But a demo is something that I send out to people. What do you think of this?
I think that if you do pre-production before you go into an actual producer, it's going to be a lot better record. Because you've already worked on it, you kind of know what was good and what was bad. Because when I record demos, when I listen to them back, I'll cringe at parts that aren't good, and I'll be like,
"Are you a gear guy?"
No, I'm not. I see the question here. Oh, okay. So Cloth, the answer to that for me is really less the mic. So what's your preferred mic to track vocals with? The answer to that would be one with a really good engineer and producer behind it.
That's a great answer.
I don't ever want to get.
That's a great answer. I don't want to interrupt you, but I need to say that now. Go ahead.
I don't want to get hung up on gear. Like, yes, so gear is like, okay, I'm also a car guy, right? You can put me in my $800 Miata out there, and I might be just as fast on a track as I am in like a Porsche 911, right? So it's really like, good gear can allow you to be better, but it doesn't make you good. There's recordings out there that have been done with really bad gear, and if it's a really good engineer and producer behind it, it'll come out sounding fantastic. Yes, good gear will always help. Like, sound quality is always there. But I'm as a songwriter, I'm more the kind of a person who thinks that if it's good, it will get through. Right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's, down to a certain level. I don't want to listen to a 32 kbps MP3 where everything sounds like cymbal wash. But it's really just, it's got to be the material, right? And the thing is, even with a poor source, a really good engineer or a producer can make that sound good still. So it's about knowing how to use those tools and knowing how to use them to the best of your ability and to everything that tool has. Much like as a gamer, think to yourself, like, you see when, like, for example, when PlayStation 2 first comes out, right? Games don't look that much better than Dreamcast. But by the end, things are looking great because you learn how to use those tools. It's the exact same tool. It hasn't gotten any better on the hardware. But suddenly, why do we have games that look this good coming out? It's because people have figured out how to use this hardware better. So really, it's about the person behind the tool rather than the tool itself. A tool is just that. So, just a tool.
It's a good answer, man. It's a fucking great answer, dude, because the reality is, man, I've been trying to explain this to a lot of people for a long time. If you know what you're doing, you can get almost any gear to sound good.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need other
anything.
gear.
It's not just gear. That's right? Anything in life.
We could take this mic.
The best chef in the world could have a dull knife and still produce a better meal than a home chef with the best knife in the world.
Well, and let's just use something a little bit more immediate. These microphones. This is a Electro Voice RE20. Okay, it's $500 microphone, $550 depending on where you get it, whatever. Dope fucking microphone. We're getting these to sound pretty decent. I can tell by the signals, and we're not getting a lot of complaints. Okay? Now, if you gave me a $2,000 or a $3,000 Neumann microphone, I'm not immediately going to be able to tell you through this podcast that this is better. However, there's a reason that there's a $1,500 to a $2,500 price point difference. Because if you know what you're fucking doing, Neumann is a better mic.
Right.
However, the same thing is true with the SM58s that we were using, and now we're upgrading, right? So we got 2 of these. Well, technically we own one. Wally actually borrowed me that one to record music with, but regardless, it was a completely different ball game. These are nicer microphones, but because I'm less knowledgeable and I'm less comfortable with them, it's actually harder for me to get both of these microphones to sound as good as those microphones. That is 100% an evaluation of my abilities as a producer or an audio engineer. This is why I continue to tell you guys, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, it's learning to use your tools, right? That's really all it is. I guess if you want a real, like a non-cop-out answer, Cloth, live, I use a Sennheiser E935, so wireless. That's what I run live.
That's their, like, standard
No.
Pro
standard
wireless,
Pro. Yeah,
right?
Standard Pro
It's like
level.
a standard Pro. It's like a somewhere, if I remember right, it's like somewhere between $400 and $600 for the system. Or is that the $1,000 unit?
No, it's like a $2,000, $2,400 one. So
really,
yeah,
I remember.
That's what I run live. So
I'll take your word.
Yeah, it's E935 Evo. So that's what I run live. It worked really well with my voice. I tried a couple Shure systems, and that one, just from the sound guys I was working with and the clubs that I was playing in, that one worked best for live. But as far as a recording, like I'm not really much of a gearhead, so I can't elaborate upon that beyond that point. So,
and that's okay, man, because the reality is, I shouldn't say the reality is. That's super disingenuous for me to say. My opinion of reality is that a guy like you, who's incredibly good at 2 things: being a vocalist and performing those vocals live. Well, 3 things, because you also literally write your own vocals. So writing, performing, or recording, whatever you want to say.
It's all one of the same.
And then performing live, because performing in the studio and performing live are not the same.
No,
they're not.
No,
bro, they're not the same.
They're not.
But so it's a threefold thing, and you have all of those skills. I feel like if you were to spend the necessary, reasonable time to become a true gearhead or a producer or engineer in your own right, that would take away from the time that you have to keep being the best at what you do, right? So that doesn't mean listening. That doesn't mean asking questions. That doesn't mean when you're in the studio or live doing experiments and making judgment calls. That means you have what you have because you've done the experiments you have. You sound dope with the gear you have. Here's what you know so far. But you're not a guy who's going to spend 4 hours a day reading up on the next mic preamps, because that's 4 hours a day you could spend working on your vocal harmony.
Well, you figured me out.
I'm just saying, I think that's a good route to go. Know what you're good at. Focus on that. Shore up your weaknesses, but don't try to be a master of everything.
No,
Jack of all trades is dope.
No, I'm a specialist.
Do that.
Yeah.
But don't fucking try to be a master of everything, because you can't be. And if you try to master everything, you're going to actually suck at everything. Be super dope at 1, 2, or 3 or 4 things. Shore up your weaknesses so you don't embarrass yourself. Develop a round game. But accept the fact that you are this. And don't try to be an expert at everything, man. Every single thing we could possibly argue about is built on a team environment. Sports, music, production, being in a band.
You can't be the best without other people to be the best at what they're at. Yeah.
everything is based on a team, man. You need to surround yourself with great people who believe in your vision, and I believe that's what you did in Wither the Tide. So this is a great way to bring the conversation back, so it doesn't seem like we're just going down a fucking dark rabbit hole.
No, we digress and we come right back.
This is what you're helping me do. This is what Dalton's helping me do, and this is what I think everybody in this town needs to do. Right? We all need to have our own projects.
Cloth, I think that those singers that are attached to a certain mic, that's fine. But I'll tell you what, make me sound good on what you got. That's all I ask. Because I'm going to sound as best as I can. I'm going to give you the best raw signal that I possibly can. So know your gear. I'll go sing on any mic. So the point is,
Cloth, you're right, but Jeremy's not going to sit here
I like the motivation
pretend.
behind your question now.
Yeah, and Cloth, just keep in mind, Jeremy agrees with you. He's just saying he's not going to pretend he knows the answer to that question. He's going to lean on you. He's going to lean on a guy like Wally. He's going to lean on other experts, and that's what I'm getting at here, right? Is like, we all need to focus on what we're good at and build a support team around that. And if we all do that and help each other do that, the whole scene gets bigger and better and stronger and more stable. That's a big thing. It's more stable. So you already did this once in Wither the Tide. You and Dalton are helping me do it now with the Rivalry Project, right? So at the end of the day, that's mine. Wither the Tide is yours. As much as Sean had an influence, as much as Rich had an influence, like at the end of the day, that's your baby. As soon as we get my shit up and running, then we help Dalton. Then we help the next guy. Then we help the next guy. So we can all do whatever we want, whenever we want, because we have talent, tangible, credible, talented projects that aren't dependent on 5 guys all having a perfectly harmonious, magical, lightning in the bottle relationship. No, like, you just have a bunch of sick-ass fucking songwriters in Minneapolis.
Right.
And we can put together a lineup to play shows all day long.
So here's one of the things, though, Jared, that's a problem with our local scene. There's not a lot of collaboration. You have a lot of people that are friends that are in different bands, but how many times do you hear, like, okay, so... like you had Head Charge who had Dodd in one of their songs, right? He's saying like motherfucking wave maker, like he had that fuck yeah fuck. But how many times did we hear bands back then that had like did you sing on one Buried by Hope song
live? We did that one together.
Okay, yeah. Well, you and I were pretty tight. Hey, did I ever sing on one Dying Euphoria song?
No, because you were too good and we didn't have an appropriate part for you.
God damn it. Throw me in. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Today.
You were too good.
I could be center field.
You were too good, man.
I ain't too good for anything. But I am really good at everything.
That's the most humble thing you've ever said.
But I am, okay, you know why I'm not too good at anything? Because I am really good at everything I do. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it really well. Put me in, I'll be the best goddamn, like, whatever you put me at.
Jeremy said I'm not too good for anything.
No, but I'm going to be really good at what I do. So that's how I kind of work. So you were saying earlier how I specialize on being a vocalist, being a live singer, being a studio musician. There's one thing you left out, though, lyricist. So there's part of that that's really important because sometimes lyrics can be so bad they can ruin shit. So what are some of your best lyrics that you feel like you've written?
Ooh, honestly, I've forgotten them. I swear to God. So I actually thought about this. A couple weeks ago. Okay, so there was one song I wrote with Solace and Ashes called "Tomorrow Exists," and the lyrics in that song they're honestly, when I still read them today, because every once in a while I'll stumble across some old notebooks, and I started in the notebook with that song. Like, I was just inspired. I was at work. I remember being young, like 20 years old. I was working at a collection agency in between calls, so I had a earbud in one of my ears, listening to my own song, writing these lyrics, and just for 8 hours, I was able to just play a song on loop and concentrate on different. So I developed this perfect rhythm of each part, like this bar with that guitar riff, this rhythm. Instead of writing, here's my verse, here's my chorus, here's my verse, here's my chorus. It was like, I'm gonna fucking make each bar. And you remember back then, it was like pure screaming.
Yeah.
So I approached it from almost a hip hop perspective. It's purely rhythmic.
Yeah,
Right?
progressive vocal style.
Exactly. So every bar needed to be just dope. So there was that song, and then there was one, and I remember what song it was, and I definitely can't remember the lyrics, but there was one song in Dying Euphoria where I really cried. But then there's also been moments where I went back and listened to parts of that record where it's like, man, when I was sitting down, I wrote that song knowing I wrote it about one thing. But now, literally 15 years later, I listen to that same record, hear those same fucking lyrics, and not only do I still relate to that shit, but it has nothing to do with what I wrote it about. It is completely applicable in something else.
No, that's one of the beautiful things about lyrics, too.
So that makes me look and go, well, those are dope lyrics. Because they're relatable across my entire lifetime, right? So I can't give you a straight answer on that, bro. Because I've written a lot of bad lyrics. It'd be way easier for me to point out the worst lyrics I ever wrote, which would be Nuclear Wasted for Dying Euphoria.
Okay, so I remember the first lyrics I wrote. I was
No, the best or the worst. That's what we're talking.
I don't know
The
if
best
they're
lyrics you ever.
Oh, some of the best lyrics that I wrote. Oh man, okay, so the second one. Yeah, that was good. So I'm one of those weird dudes that was like, I had a lot of feelings when I was a teen, and I would fill notebooks with poetry, right? So I've been writing poetry since I was about 12 years old. So I wrote them in a way that I wanted one day to have a band, though, because I was like I don't even know if I'd say I was writing poetry. I was just writing lyrics because I wanted a band.
Apparently, our song started playing again after I slapped the table. I went like that, and the song started playing.
Again? Okay, whatever.
Oh, it's still playing. It's playing right now.
Turn it off. Turn that shit off. Is it off now? Has it stopped?
Now it's off.
Okay. So
yeah, dude. My bad.
All right. So
I don't know how that happened.
Some of the best lyrics that I ever wrote, I think, were definitely that second Wither album, the very first opening line, right? So taking into consideration that album was written about like the Earth and the Moon, right? It was written from a perspective of the Earth and the Moon as being in love with each other. So the very first verse starts out like,
what do you mean you guys can't hear us?
You can't hear us at all? Nothing?
Hold on.
What did you do?
All the meters look fine.
You fucked something up.
All the meters look good. Nah, these motherfuckers can hear us.
Can you hear us?
Everything looks fine. I don't know what they're talking about.
Did somebody hit mute?
Hear you.
When you slap the table, does it mute people's
It
feeds?
shouldn't. Let's find out.
All right. How long
Nah,
do I
we're
wait?
good, dude.
Okay. Wait, I can't hear us anymore. Okay, all right.
We're good, man. I don't know what happened,
Hey,
guys.
if anybody's listening still in the chat, do you want to not hear about lyrics? Because, we can totally stop. All right. Oh, no, Cloth, we just stopped talking.
So everyone's saying they can hear us fine now, but everyone is saying in the chat that it cut out for a minute. Like, it cut out for a few seconds. And okay, Brad. All right. So all right, Brad's a dad. So I'm gonna give Brad a pass on this one. He said, "No, dummy. It was because the music was playing."
Oh shit! Yeah. All right, thanks. I understand.
Touche.
All right, so it starts out.
Well played, sir.
It starts out, and one of the first lyrics is, "So you're considering like you want to write about if you're the Earth, how are you going to write a song to the moon, right?" And it starts, and I say, I've seen only one side of your face. It starts, the song's like, I've seen only one side of your face. Because the moon, we always see just one side, right?
Okay.
So there we go. We've got a melody. We've got a lyric. And then I extrapolate. I say, leaving the other out to guess. So I've seen one side of your face, but I'm always guessing about what that other side is, right? Because I've only seen one.
Booty
so
hole.
what's over there? Could be the
I'm
booty hole.
into it. Yeah. Yeah, now you got me.
Now it goes from there. It goes from there. And if you think
Let's talk about the dark side of the moon,
because
brah.
the Earth and the moon, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the dark side.
That booty hole.
The Earth and the moon are tidally locked, right? So I take that and I say, "You've reflected this subtle pace." So you've reflected this subtle pace, right?
See, that's how I know you're a real singer. You can sing all that shit impromptu on key. My voice would be twitching and flicking in between the cigarettes.
Listen. Hey, if anybody wants to start a new metal project out there, I want to be Spine Shank, but still playing songs. So hit me up. Let me know. Because, God damn it, I just want to be Spine Shank. That's what I want to play.
Yeah, everyone's calling me an idiot right now.
I want to play Spine Shank songs.
The song played, and that's why they couldn't hear us.
That's all right. We had some really good things to say, and I'm sorry that you all missed that.
We didn't. Nothing we said was valid. Don't lie to them. They missed nothing.
No, we just looked at each other like this.
Longingly and sexually. In a very non-gay way, believe it or not.
Is there any other way? There's only one kind of way, and it is the way of just being a human. So there's only one. It's the human condition. It's all things at all times.
No, like it's crazy, and I think about this more and more.
If I slap the table, does the song start again? Did it start?
No.
Okay. So now let me tell you a really good.
I want you to keep going though.
Okay, I'm going to tell you about some lyrics. Okay.
So these lyrics, the idea is like, tell me about it. If you were the Earth, writing or song or talking.
No, we're moving past that right now. Oh, okay, all right. We can go a little further into it. So it's the Earth falling in love with the moon, right? Because I was just thinking about it. I'm like, God damn it, that is a long-term relationship right there. So the Earth must really love the moon because it still hasn't gone away. So it's like the song starts out, you've got it begins, it's like, I've seen only one side of your face, because you've got the Earth and the moon tidally locked. It only gets to see one side. So leaving the other out to guess. So one side's, you're always guessing what's on that other side, right? Now, then the Earth begins to realize that it's because as it turns, the moon is matching it. They're tidally locked. So then it says, you've reflected this subtle pace. So it's reflecting the pace. It's slow, but it's doing it. It's following along to make sure you never get to see that other side. And then I thought, oh shit, that can be how actual human relationships are. You never really get to see the other side of that person's face.
So then you start delving into metaphors and like, okay, now I'm not the Earth and the moon. Now I'm a person and another person. Now I'm at a day job falling in love with another day job. Right. Whatever parallel you want to draw.
So
at that
then
point.
the very next lyric is meant to be disarming. I say, no need or bother to contrive. So I say, no need or bother to contrive. Just let your guard down. Just let me see. It's okay. All right? Because we are who we are. Just let me see that person. Now it becomes,
instead of a literal artistic analogy, it becomes a metaphorical.
Right. But then the song, when you listen to it, then I have a like you're left hanging. And then that's when like the humanity comes in, and I realize like love is
the rhythm represents humanity at that point.
It represents a pause. Like you don't get an answer. You ask, but you never get it, right? So then the chorus comes in and it says the force of love, right? Like the force of love. And then it tells you like that draws you in, right? So it goes from there. It's a song, Wither the Tide, the first track. Good Lord, it's been so long since I did that one.
Here, you know what?
Oh, it's just called The Force of Love.
Here, we have the ability to do this now. Hold on.
The force of love, believe above. So the force
of
love
on iTunes, right?
Will make you. It draws you into a person, and it keeps you there, even with their faults, even if they're not willing to show them. But you know they're there because you know there's that dark side, right? It's the Earth being cognizant, or a man or woman being cognizant of their significant other's dark side. They know it's there, even if they don't see it. They know it's there, and they accept it. So that's what that whole song is about.
Can I ask a question?
This time.
You said it's on iTunes, right? Is it on iTunes?
Hey,
what's the name of the song?
So
what's the name of the song?
Forces of the Moon.
Forces?
So Klotz, they had that dude Brandon Espinoza. Just tell him Espinoza, Santos, make Montoya the third. I can still do it. I know
Forces of
all
the Moon.
those songs. Right.
Correct?
Yeah, that's the one. So that's some of the lyric speak. Anyways,
Okay, we got to look it up by a different.
yeah, I've got some really dark shit too.
Which Wither album is it on? 'Cause
Second
you spelled
one.
your name differently.
The second one. It's with an H.
Okay,
It's proper.
Okay. Wither the Tide. All right. We're going to pull this up. We're going to play this song. Forces of the Moon. Oh, look at that. It's actually like the third song.
It should be one on the record when you buy the disc.
No, it's in iTunes as far as popularity.
So something really important to me is lyrics.
Fucking dirty bitch.
It's got to be
Fucking
together. It
dirty
has to
shit
make
talking
sense.
little bitch.
Because when you write good lyrics and they make sense to the singer will
what's wrong
oftentimes
with me.
sing in a more, I guess.
Aaron
way that
asked a
feels.
question. Okay, Aaron, I'm not mad. Don't answer this question. Jeremy,
Yes.
do not answer this question. Aaron, I'm not mad. Just a little disappointed because you've proven that you don't watch the podcast
Dude, you don't pay
enough.
attention, do you? I have a long lineage.
Previously,
and I was in that
shut
band.
up, Jeremy.
All right.
previously on the Jared Singer
It may have
Extravaganza.
been this guy.
Shut up. I'm trying to do my Lost thing. Previously on the Jared Singer Extravaganza. Go watch the previous episode. We got into all that. Yeah, Jeremy has a brother who is in the scene, sub-level, blah, blah, blah. We're not getting back into it. You got to go watch the last appearance. This isn't the first time Jeremy's. But yes, you are correct. It's not a weird question. You don't have to apologize.
Dude, let's just answer. Let's just fucking answer him.
Yeah, you
Fuck
can
that
get
shit.
Because I got to
Aaron,
cue this up
I'm going to answer
anyways.
you, okay? Fuck this cryptic bullshit. Yes, I had a brother, and I was also in that band, but I also played in a band
Pronounce
in the
his
early 2000s.
name correctly. Have some respect. It's Aaron Lanick.
Oh, Lanick?
It's Aaron Lanick.
Oh, Aaron. Okay.
Have some respect.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, Aaron Lanick? Is that for real?
Yeah, it's 100% for real,
Okay.
man. Don't be dismissive.
No, I'll
asshole.
do it, but I don't know if you're fucking with me, so that
Nah,
I end up
man, I'm
looking
not
like some
fucking
kind of
with you.
fucking fool
I'm
because
not-
you tell me
I'm
how
not
to say a
fucking
name.
with you at
and I
all,
say it
man.
wrong.
His name's Aaron Lanick.
So anyways, yes, the band was called Subnormal. And they were fantastic. I was in that band as well. My brother was a singer, and shortly thereafter, I guess I'm the filter to that Nine Inch Nails. We had a somewhat congruent run where my band was Sean Hill, who throws the 90-mile-per-hour fastball. We were out playing in the scene at the same time in the early 2000s. Dude, I've been in the scene since like 1997. So yeah, it might have been me that you're thinking of, not my brother. It's possible it was just me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've resorted to just cracking myself up at this point.
I was a child, but I was in the music scene. So
It's actually Aaron Lanick, but
yeah, Lonick. That's easy.
everyone's pronounced his name forever wrong.
Just put a W in
it's
there.
Aaron. It's Aaron Lanick.
If it's Lonick, just put a W in there. It'll disambiguate your name. So I'd
Be a
recommend that.
true immigrant and respell your fucking name.
Yeah,
so the
come on.
rest of us can fucking pronounce it.
Come on, my name was originally written like MHAOGHTNWR with a few silent S's
What
in there
the
too.
fuck is this?
I don't
You
know.
brought me some fucking wild. Oh, bro, this is a dope can. Hold on though.
I told you I chose
Hold
the
on.
cans that I
Hold
like
on.
the look
Don't
of.
say anything because I gotta try to
Right.
force the cams here, and I want to show this on camera. I'm hoping this is a fucking dope. Oh shit! It's still on your camera. There we
looks
go.
like the-
Don't say anything. God damn it! I'm trying to switch the camera. Look, it's kind of like the podcast logo. See that? See the fucking the thing in the middle. See the sunglasses? You son of a bitch! Whatever you're doing, it's just enough. I got to work on the scene switcher.
I wasn't talking. So anyways, the
You were
can's
doing
cool.
enough.
Yeah,
you were doing too much.
I'm just moving. I wasn't even
You were
making
doing
sound.
too much.
It looks like the opening from like the Fresh Prince
You
of
do
Bel Air
too
with like little
much.
squiggles. Yeah, people tell me that sometimes. So
You ever seen that TikTok video where she's
Nope.
the mom talks to the little girl? She's like, the daughter's like 2-3 years old, can barely talk. The cutest accent in the world. Mom's like, you do too much, and the daughter turns around. She's like, you don't do enough.
Jared, before we go any further here, so I want everyone to know I don't do social media. I fucking live it. All that shit you see happening. Here's an example. Here I was on a Friday afternoon driving my car, and I'm driving down the sidewalk. Chad, if you're watching, you can attest to this too. I'm driving down the sidewalk in my pink car. It's my daughter's Power Wheels, and some lady goes, "Hey, you that guy that drives tiny cars on YouTube? And I go, I'm the guy who lives tiny cars in your life. And I just kept on driving. And then I thought, I should monetize that shit. So
Aaron, don't ever fucking apologize on this podcast again. Don't you ever fucking apologize.
Dude, I actually like this question because it
lets me talk about
how long I've been here.
This is not a podcast where we apologize.
Land farmer in check.
Nah, we're having fun, man. There are no dumb questions. This is a family. All we do is fuck with each other. The more we fuck around and have fun, the better things get.
So land farmer in check. To that shit. Did you know that Montoya means space farmer?
Do you want to hear your own song
in English?
Do you guys want to hear the song that Jeremy was Forces of the Moon?
Oh yeah, the one we just talked about the lyrics to the first chorus.
You guys want to hear this?
All right,
should we
play a few seconds of it?
Let's wait 15 to 20 seconds for the delay to kick in and let them comment. Do you guys want to hear the song that Jeremy was just describing, Forces of the Moon, where he's a planet?
Dude,
falling
I got another
with
really really dark song though about when I ate a pop brownie and it had way more milligrams. It was like I thought they said 10, but it was actually like 100, and I ate that shit. And I wrote a song about that. Yeah.
If they want to hear it, maybe we can get to that too.
Yeah, I got a little bit of time left here, which means we have 5 hours. So.
Jeremy, you give me permission to play. Jeremy, do you give Jeremy as
copyright owner?
YouTube, I'm talking to you, not the people on YouTube. I'm talking to actual YouTube right now. YouTube, I'm talking to you, fucks. Jeremy, do I have, as sole songwriter and copyright owner,
I do own the copyrights.
Do I have permission to play Forces of the Moon by Wither of the Tide?
Yes, because I'll receive a little bit of kickback and royalties.
Okay, now do I also have permission to play Forces of the Moon by Wither the Tide?
You do.
Because I said Wither of the Tide. And
Montoya,
those petty fucks, those fucking petty attorneys will be like, Wither of the Tide isn't a thing. You had too many drinks and cannot enter into a contract. Eat shit. We're playing it.
Quick note, I wrote this after drinking a bottle of absinthe. Yeah. Here we go.
Oh. Now I'm just aroused.
The whole album in 2 nights.
Now I'm just aroused. All right, we're going to play this. Here's the weird thing is like, you know what? No, I can totally mute my shit. All right, we got to mute him. Wait,
I thought they did. Maybe
I fucked that whole thing up. I just muted both of us. I'm trying to just mute him, and then bear with me, guys. I need a producer. Jesus Christ. Join the fucking Patreon so I can hire a producer.
Sometimes it feels like we may be drifting apart. And over time, that may be true. But we will always be able to see each other. Even when we're just a distant flicker of one, shining across the vastness of space. The force will always remain, and our connection will always be.
All right, so we're good. Oh, they can still hear the next song.
Turn it off. Turn the next one off.
I know. That's the problem when we cue shit up from the phone with the new mixer.
Right.
Is like technically all of this is coming through one device. So like, I need to get better at that. That's why we need a producer. Somebody that actually knows what the fuck they're doing and isn't trying to also host and hang out and drink beers and have fun.
Thanks.
It's tough, man.
Aaron Lonick, that's why I said, like, give me Spine Shank. I can do it. It's just it's like Jared said. All that I do is I focused on vocals and nothing else. So, and I listened to him. But thank you for the kind words.
No, Cloth. You don't get to play drums on that track.
Hey, that's my bad. I can do that. Is not your bad.
Cloth.
That's Wither the Tide. I still own that shit. Anybody can play that. I've written a whole other album, but it's some dark shit. But it's fucking it. Okay, so I think only Wally and my brother have heard what I've done. It's pretty fucking dark.
Well, and here's the thing that I get frustrated with the most working with you and Dalton is I want to get this project out of the way. I want to get this album out of the way so we can write more together.
Question
in the future.
Question: why don't we just write more then?
We should be, but we can't even get this done.
Why do we got to get it done? Just fucking write more.
We got to get it done. Somebody's got to get something done. If we can't get this done, how do we get the next thing done?
Because we just go and get the next thing done.
Nah, man. You got to get something done. You got to walk before you can crawl. Like, literally, we haven't taken our first step, and we're already talking about running a marathon. Come on.
Listen.
Let's get the first thing done to prove we can do anything, and then let's move forward.
We already wrote this whole record.
I'm excited for that, dude. I'm excited
for
that.
It.
I'm extremely excited for you to come to me with an idea like that. Like, let's just take that idea. Hey, dude, let's fucking write a song about this. And I already know where you're going to come from conceptually as a vocalist. And I can actually, for the first time, sit down as a guitar player and as a songwriter and go, oh, we're writing a song about this. Let me put them vibes down, bro. Is what I've been conformed to my entire life is coming up with an idea on my own, fleshing that idea out on my own, and trying to recruit people that can see that idea and that vision and execute that idea and that vision, which has severely limited me. I want to get to a point, especially with this project and somebody like you who I've been friends with and good friends with for a long time, somebody I really respect. Not only as a peer, but somebody who can do my fucking job better than me. Like, that is so rare I run across somebody where I'm like, dude, you can do that job.
No, your job ain't to sing anymore.
Better than I could do that.
No, your job ain't to sing anymore.
That's my point.
Your job is to drum, write the songs, and play guitar. And I can't do either of those better than you.
This is what I'm getting at, though, Jeremy. It is incredibly hard for me to audition or join other bands because I've been a vocalist or a front man. And I write songs on guitar. So when the guitars are weak, I'm not inspired as a drummer. When I'm a guitar player or a drummer and I see a front man up there that's got a limp dick, that makes it hard for me to have confidence backing this motherfucker as the front man of our band. You're the guy who I'm like, no, this dude can do his job better than I could do it. If I'm ever going to be able to give you critiques, it's because I hear a melody in my head you didn't, and maybe you like it. Or because I've been a front man, I can be like, hey, bro, this weird little thing you do, stop doing that shit. It weirds people out. Do this instead. I have confidence doing that. But when it comes to writing your vocals, when it comes to executing your vocals, you are several tiers above me and what I ever could have been as a vocalist. So I have confidence not needing to worry about what you're doing on your instrument.
Hold on,
does that make sense?
Yeah, but hold on one second.
For the first time in so long, there's 3 to 5 bands in this town where I look at their lead singer or their front man and I go, that dude's better than I was. It's such a small amount of people in this. There's 8 million people in this state. There's 5 of them that I'm like, that dude's better than me.
There's 3 vocalists
at that job.
So there's 3 singers that I've seen in this scene that make me think like
everybody's better than me at something.
Oh yeah, there's 3 singers that I've seen in the scene that I have thought like that dude is better than me. One of them being my brother, which wasn't that bad in the early 2000s. The other one being Wally, and the other one being Aaron Dahl. Those are that's like those when I see those singers, as far as male singers, because when it comes to a female singer, I can't sing what they sing, so. It's a different thing. I'm not that person. I haven't lived that life. But as a male singer, it's like those 3 to me are always the ones that I cannot sing as well as. But you know what? I can sing the best that I can do. So
I want to play another song while we're in the mood, while we're in the groove here.
I got a collab with a female singer, which actually I haven't told her we might play it tonight.
I want to play a song,
and I won't say who it is. But I could let everybody hear it. And she's in a very well-known local band.
Because I'm in a mood.
Or Minnesota band. They're not local. Sorry.
Because I'm in a mood, and I'm just being honest with y'all. This is the part. This is the one true luxury that comes with having your own shit, where you make the calls. All the responsibility comes down to you. Usually, this is not something.
Oh, Aaron, to answer your question, who's in with her right now? Just me.
Dude, I was in the middle of saying something.
Just
Go
me.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm listening. Hey, I can multitask.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Talk to the people. Talk to the people. They're
I
interacting. Talk to the people.
So, Aaron, it's just me. So back in February of 2020, perfect timing, I walked into the final With of the Tide practice and I said, guys, I can't do this right now. Like, we need to be done. Turns out we would have been done anyways because of the virus of unknown origin. It occurred, and we had to put things away. And I just, you then shortly came along with a couple demos. And I was like, why don't you have me sing for it? I got nothing to do. So I sang for it. I did a whole other project with one of the members from With of the Tide.
And the irony is I actually sent you something else first.
Yeah, you did.
I sent you 2 different projects I was involved with. One of them hit hard, and one of them was like cool, but it immediately went to the back burner because what you put down on that demo that I sent you for my project was so hot. Everybody in the circle was like, nope, that's we're doing that.
Yeah. So
just to put it in perspective.
It's just me. I've written 8 songs. I wrote them all in my basement in probably like June to August of 2020. I did them all. There's 8 of them, and they're really, really dark, though. They're a lot of fun to listen to, but man, it's something. So I haven't freaked my brother out. So
no, dude, this shit's hot. And while we're on this swing, I want to play this song. This is called Show Red.
Oh, that one?
This is probably one of my favorite songs. And ironically, here's the weird part: is like I actually don't like these verses. So this is one of those weird songs.
Oh, you want me to tell you about the lyrics on it, though?
I do, but I just want to set this up, right? So, like, because I give a lot of props on this podcast.
Thank you.
And we talk a lot of shit on this podcast. And I want to make sure that these things are in context and people understand where I'm coming from. Because if I talk shit, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. And when I give props, I'm not trying to blow anybody's ego up. I'm not trying to give fluff. Everything I say is genuine. Like it or love it. Fucking love it or leave it. I don't give a shit. I'm being honest. I'm being me. This song is one of those songs that was later in your album. It's like
track 11 or something.
Yeah.
Out of like 14.
And it's one of those songs that most people would only hear of if they put your entire album on play.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, I feel, including me, would pull away because it's not catchy enough out of the verse. But dude, by the time this song ends, it is such a beautiful accompaniment of, God, man, I don't even really know how to explain it. I'm just going to play it.
It's important to know when this was written too, because this song was written in my mom's basement when I had moved out from where I was, and I lived there for 6 months before I moved in with my future wife. We've been married, like many years now. It's fantastic, almost 10. Next year it'll be 10. I wrote this song it was like mid 2010, I think, or late 2009. It's called Show Red. So it starts out, I'll give a little bit of context for the lyrics. So it starts out, and the first lyrics are, "Now it seems to me that you've been holding to a purpose so worthless." So whatever I was holding on to back then, right? I think it was about my band Buried by Hope, right? And I kept on wanting to bring it back and get things there, but I knew Bob was gone, so we could never really get there again. So it starts out, it's like, "Now it seems to me that you've been holding to a purpose so worthless." So with every action, distraction. So every action, distraction, right? Because I'm just trying to take my mind off of it. No, Bob's really gone. Like, he ain't coming back. And then I say, like, "Now you focus it into a fist," because then the fucking rage and the anger comes in, right? Like, I just want fucking revenge for what happened to him, and I feel that fist clench. So we'll take it from there, people. This is some really deep stuff for where the lyrics come from for me, but I think about it, right?
So that last
I put it
part,
together.
though, and I see you. Where is that coming from? How the song climaxes and ends, and I'm saying climaxes.
Oh yeah,
absolutely fucking deliberately. Don't be a bunch of fucking perverts. I'm being genuine from a songwriter. This song is built to a true climactic crescendo that I believe is one of the beautiful moments in poetry, in music, that has happened in a long time. And there's weird records like this that stick out for me, and we talk about this on this podcast a lot, where there's huge, popular, wildly phenomenal pop music that I will get down with and talk about this, or I will talk about that song this way. And then there's songs that no one's ever heard of that this is one of those songs where me and 50,000 people across the globe have heard. 50,000 people is a lot of fucking people. But when you compare it to 8 billion people, it ain't shit. It's a drop. It's nothing. It's the same. Literally, when you measure it against 8 billion people, it might as well be 2 people. 50,000 to 2 is the same when you're measuring against 8 billion. So that's why I say no one's ever heard this shit before. Obviously, a lot of you guys have heard it because we played shows with these boys. But this song, to me, is one of those songs that when I heard it, I was like, and I wanted to skip it. But I was such a fan of the band, and I love listening to records front to back, because I believe that you wrote this collection of music as one giant piece of art. I'm one of the few motherfuckers that will do that. And I found this piece of art at the end of your giant piece of art. And honestly, man, the way this song ends, dude, I just think it's beautiful. I think it's poetry in music. And when I say poetry in music, I don't just mean the vocals. I mean everything. I mean the way the whole thing comes together.
It's important to know the
like
final,
beautiful,
the very last lyrics, Jared. It's important to know where that came from.
I'm lacking the words, bro.
It's important to know where those came from, right?
It's the lyrics that you guys
the very end.
Hear.
It's the words they rolled off of your silver tongue. That was when I was watching the news report, right? And they're saying like, well, they had to shoot Bob because he had a gun. It's like, oh, you say it so eloquently, so easy that it all just makes sense, right? The words, they just roll right off your silver tongue. And that's what that end is.
In case any of you guys ain't catching on, because we have a language barrier with international listeners, and we have a lot of people that have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
Silver tongue is a place of privilege.
Our boy Bobo from Buried by Hope, Jeremy's former band, the best way to say it, man, and it's going to sound shitty. I'm sorry.
There's no good way to say it, really.
He committed suicide by cop. Our boy was depressed. He had a dark period in his life. He called the cops on himself and then walked out on the cops, fucking showed a gun. If I remember correctly, they released a canine. He shot the dog, and the cops unloaded like 30 36 shots in our boy. Something like that. I may be getting the details wrong, but man, it's about the darkest shit you could possibly fucking think of. This song is about that. It's about not the event itself, but about Jeremy's personal reflection and his emotional handling of that situation. So we're going to play this song.
There's an instrumental on this album dedicated to him also.
This shit was hard for all of us, man. So shout out to Bobo. You're always in our thoughts, man. We still love you to this day, my brother. One of the greatest live bass players who's ever been on this scene. Bobo was... He's a fucking rock star, man. He was a true rock star. Like, for real. Like, he could have been...
He was the first time I was like, oh, I have to really front man because this dude's not even the front man.
Yeah,
I gotta
exactly.
I couldn't keep up with him.
Exactly. Bobo as a bass player outshined you as a front
every
man.
time.
In every band he was in.
People didn't even notice me. It was for real. They might hear me, but they think, oh, it must be the bassist singing.
All right, here we go, man.
That kind of level.
All right, here we go.
Now it seems to me that you've been clinging to a purpose so worthless. Every action, distraction, focus it into a fist. When you say what I had to make me a clown, never fearing it was shown to the eyes that watch from my eye. Now you drag out all the down inside, now you'll have to, yeah, but I want you to know I don't need you to tell me how I should feel. I don't need your influence to take. Still it feels to me this instance that we will arrive. You've derived a tendency out of me. Can't wait to see what you decide. Then you take what I had and become a clown. Only fearing it was shown to the eyes that play from my eye. Watch you drag out all the hate I say. Down inside, now you're so fair, but I want you to know I don't need you to tell me how I should feel. I don't need your influence today, and it feels like the red has won again, and it feels like the red has won again, and it feels like the red has won again, and it feels like the red has won again. I've been showing red, my breath's been running short. Our time is running out. Thanks to the words that you contort, and all of the lies you spoke to me, all of the lies that set you free. I won't let you make me one in what you do. I'll never find solace in your big plan. You'll never make me all knowing what I could have. I don't need you to tell me how I should feel. I don't need your
Ooh, that's nasty, bro. I'm telling you, dude, that shit, the way that shit ends like that, bro. Oh, fucking my shit's not working all of a sudden.
Your mic's out?
I forgot to unmute my mic. Bro, that shit is nasty. The way that shit ends, like, I try to explain this to because I've been in a couple rooms where we're like finishing our songs and stuff, and I've heard some people say every song needs to end like every song needs to be built like you're climbing a mountain, and every song ends at the peak of the mountain. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, a lot of them are written like roller coasters where you come cruising into the end.
Yeah, what about the falling
You're
action?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, man. That song.
Like, you ever been in a fight? You ever fought a friend, and at the end you're like,
Jeremy, that song.
What do we do? I don't know. That's fucked up, but I'm tired.
Jeremy, listen to me, man. That song does such a beautiful job of going from something that tastes at the beginning of like, dude, it's like you're licking a fucking 9-volt battery at the beginning of it, and by the time it ends, it's like you're coming down from a mushroom trip. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, you feel better. There's no other way that I can. You start that song like we're licking a fucking 9-volt battery, and by the time we end it, it's like I'm coming down off the most beautiful mushroom trip I've ever experienced. And this is the image and the emotional feeling I feel at the end of that song. I can't wait to go home tomorrow and wake up next to my wife. That's what I feel. I start off licking a 9-volt battery. I go through hell and back. And after the end of that trip, at the end, the metaphorical mushroom trip that is your song, by the time the sun is rising, it's a beautiful day. Hope has been restored, and I'm waking up next to my wife tomorrow because of all the bad shit that I just went through. There's still some segment of hope left in the final notes, lyrics, and tones of the song. There you go. That's the end of my rant, bro. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Put it in the comments. Roast me if I'm wrong, man. But that's how I feel at the end of that song.
I've never had that enthusiastic of a reaction, probably since Rich first heard it. So, God, like...
I describe music in
9 years
scenes.
ago or something. So.
I describe music in scenes, almost like you're watching a movie, right? So, like, that riff makes me feel like I'm driving down the road. That riff makes me feel... like I'm in the middle of a hurricane. You see what I'm saying? Like I that's why I am so excited to get past this first fucking album we're doing now and get to the next one where you and I can sit down and we go, dude, we want to write an entire album about this, or we want to write a song about this and a song about that and a song about this and a song about that, so I can start writing riffs in the same way you think about lyrics.
Right.
I've never fucking had that opportunity.
If you recall, when you wrote songs, you'd ask me to sing on them, and I would say, well, what's this song about, Jared? Well, a couple friends and collaborators of mine, when they write a song and bring it to me, I say, what's it about? And I say, like, they don't have to give me a lot of detail. Just give me, like, oh, you know, I got home today and, you know, I stubbed my toe or whatever, right? Extrapolate. Or, you know, my dad had a stroke in the case of what happened to you, right? Mm-hmm. You give me something, it can be any level, and I will still work on that. Like, I can build my own ammo. If I write the song, I've got my own ammo to go with it, right? Like that song that that's a riff that came from me, like, for that feeling. That's kind of, Sean performed it though. That's Sean, if he's listening. He played that in the studio, and that's Rich on drums. And Wally produced that one. The first two Wither albums were written by me. The third one we had, I think, at least... Oh, gosh, it's hard to remember now. There's at least one song written by Maddie, who came in to replace Sean after Sean exited the band. But those first two records were written by me, and they were just from different places, right? Like, the first record was in a lot more, like, anger and everything, but the second one was more of a concept of a story. But that whole first record deals with a lot of different topics. It was written over a course. Like, all the songs probably span 6 years of experience, plus there was one from my brother's band Subnormal in the early 2000s that I usurped from him, so with his consent though, and he also does play guitar on one of the tracks. So The second record, I feel, is better as a cohesive. Like, the lyrics are more related from song to song. And the third record was really probably what would have been the second record. The third record, which we dropped the H, which was a different band, I felt. But it was very, very good. Was heavier. It was more aggressive. It was more in line with what the first record was, but it didn't have that same kind of feel. I did do another record, like I said, 8 songs. I've got it all demoed out. I'm just waiting for the time, waiting for the people. So we'll get there. What I'm working on right now, though, is if anybody's listening, I'm working on songs with you that I'm waiting to have.
There's a couple of people in here.
Which
I'm actually like
I'm
kind of
waiting,
shocked.
I'm waiting to have more.
Dude, YouTube. When my dad, here's something I talked about with another.
Also, I, as the copyright holder of that song, "Show Red" by Wither the Tide, I am the songwriter and copyright holder of it. I consent to him playing it on his program.
Fuck, you're right. We forgot to patronize YouTube again.
Yeah.
No, but for real though, I was talking about this with another content creator today. YouTube doesn't care about your personal life or your struggles. So literally, I swear to God, bro, why
would it? You ever going to ask a boss for a raise? Are you ever going to ask a boss for a raise and say, well, I need to pay my bills? They're like, everybody needs to pay fucking bills.
Yeah, but that's still a human being, right? Like YouTube, the corporation, the algorithm, nope. Everything. So here's what happened. My dad went down, bro. I started doing slightly less podcasts, less often.
Mm-hmm.
It fucking killed my channel. I am blown away the fact that there's this many people even just watching this live and hanging out with us. Thank you guys so much, because honestly, man, when that shit went down with my dad, dude, we started getting less than average view times because we were less relevant, because we were doing less content less often, and fucking YouTube immediately deranked our shit. Like, we weren't even coming up. When I would do a new podcast, we weren't even coming up to people that usually could chime in every live pod. Thank you guys very much, man. I really appreciate it, dude, because we got to basically regrow the channel from day one. I might as well have 20 subscribers because we dropped off that far from what we had normally been doing that we basically deranked ourselves from even our own subscribers. So thank you, motherfuckers, for hanging out with us live. It's a big deal to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy to get to speak more about like the motivation and kind of the idea, like what creates that song, right? For me, it's usually like a thought, like a lyric, or a feeling, right? Like
so
I feel something
Century,
about it.
Then.
A Century? That's a tough one.
This is the debut record,
or
the debut song on this same record. Because this is my favorite record. Like, in case anybody doesn't understand what's happening right now, Jeremy and Wither the Tide have 3 records. And this is not because I was managing you.
Well, the last record just came out last year, so I mean, it's not.
To be fair, the reason
long.
my bias towards this first record is not because I was fucking with you guys. It's not because I was managing you while this whole thing. That's not it. The reason I wanted to manage you guys is because of the music you were making. I got fired as your manager mostly because y'all motherfuckers didn't know how to be managed. And we've all agreed on that since then, but I also wasn't offering you what you thought you needed. Even though y'all motherfuckers were wrong and young and naive, even Rich, I'm super disappointed.
I'm not the one that fired you. So
I know. Everyone fired me. I
just like to say I had a manager.
Rich,
you don't have to do
Rich
anything.
Disappointed me at the time because he basically wanted Bill Berry 2.0. And it was like, you don't need Bill Berry 2.0. You needed Bill Berry when you were 20. You don't need Bill Berry when you're 30 to 35. You need somebody who's out there doing shit. But neither here nor there.
Hey, listen, I wasn't looking for a Bill Berry. I wasn't looking for a Bill Berry at the time, and no. I just wanted to have somebody
to bring this up
to be a member that wasn't performing to do things outside of that. So you appeased my expectation.
But the reason I bring this up is because I want to make sure people understand my bias towards this record is not because I was involved with it or involved with the band at the time. It'd be more accurate. It's because this record from front to back is one of those records that I would take with me if you told me I only had 10 albums to choose from, Deserted Island Moment. If you give me 10, this album that you fucking wrote with my boys is on that list. No other local band is on that list.
I tell you, that second record's better, though. You just got to give it a chance.
That Emergent record sneaks on that list because Aaron Dahl is the shit.
Yeah, I really need to get him to sing
some of my boys.
Why did I not ask him to contribute to my last record? He's on ours. When we fucking get into record, I'm going to have him sing on one of our songs.
If you can pull
If he'll do it.
You can get him.
Just got to ask him.
I've talked to him personally, man. He's like, he does not even want to come on the podcast.
That's fine. The podcast isn't a place for everybody, right?
Right.
Why would he doesn't want to. That's cool. But you know what?
He's got higher priorities than what we're doing.
But what if one of those priorities is singing? So
let's hope so.
It's always worth an ask.
I would love to have him on our record.
We could ask him. If there's a place for him, if I ask, we'll see what he says. So
apparently you're his favorite vocalist in town. And after talking to you for a long time, it seems like he's your favorite vocalist in town.
Yeah. Because I always wish that I could just I wish that I could hold out that stamina like he could. He's so good. And the thing is, here's something with Aaron,
you guys
too.
are both amazing.
No, here's something with Aaron. Like, his lyrics come from a place that I feel like mine are sourced from similarly. So, like, from the source, right? Like,
all right, let's talk about Century.
Yeah,
let's talk about this next song. You guys want to hear another song? You guys put it in the comments if you guys want to hear another song. This song, Century, it's the debut song on the album that I'm obsessed with. Do you remember what your inspiration, what the point? Because I understand we've talked about, and we probably should even after this song talk about the concept of the entire record, because it's not. You actually wrote a concept album. This whole album is one giant
it wasn't as tight of a concept as the second record. This one in particular, Century, it's the opening track. So this is a weird song because it was one that was written in 1994, and it was one of those songs that I wrote in my head.
And this record
and
came
I
out
lost
in like
it.
06.
No, I lost the song but it was still in my head, right? And then one day it came back in like mid 2000s. I'm like, holy shit, that song! I remember that. So I remembered it. I was like, holy shit! And it was one of those things where I remembered like all of it, almost everything. So the lyrics kind of reflect that, right? It's like I was going back to the source, right? Like I was going back to that. Whatever chemical reactions were happening in my mind at that time, they were back. Those reactions were happening again. It was there. So it's like what the opening lyric is like, as far back as I can see, these words have crept behind me, because it was like one of the first songs that I wrote. So as far back as I could remember in my musical, I guess, existence,
dude, this
was back there.
Line, dude, this vocal line,
it crept behind me.
This shit. And that's the thing, like, man, I was fucking with you guys. I had started that production company. I had started booking shows. I was doing some really impressive things with my own band. And you and me and Rich were super tight. You guys sent me this demo, and I had started floating out the idea of managing bands, because other people were like, listen, man, you got to start helping other people with this. Like, you're doing some dope shit, and you gotta spread this. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Fuck it. And I grabbed one or two bands. I think you guys were one, and I can't even remember who the second one. Wally even called me, and he goes, how many bands you trying to manage? I said, I can handle 5. I can handle 5, and here's my business plan. And he was like, this is dope.
The hubris of youth.
So he sent me, no, it's not even the hubris. I was being humble. I probably should have taken on 10.
Right.
But I was like, I can handle 5. I can handle 5. Wally's like, I got one for you. Shot me vaudeville. I started managing vaudeville for a short period of time.
They were good, man.
But none of you knew how to be managed. This is the key to this conversation. And we'll do a whole nother podcast on this of to what the fuck I mean by this. But seriously, if your band, if anybody's listening to this back on audio, or because honestly, most of the people probably listening right now live already know this shit. If you think you need a manager, you probably don't. And if
I didn't think I needed a manager, though.
The band did need a manager, but that's a different story. Most bands don't need a manager, and when they think they do, it's what you said.
I thought I just needed
hubris.
Somebody. Yeah, right.
It's your own overconfidence in whatever you got going on that thinks you're so big you need a manager. There's strategic and tactical, not tactful, tactical. Strategic and tactical reasons you need a manager. And you did need a manager. But what you thought you wanted in a manager, and I continue to have this conversation with Rich and with you to this day, and any other young musician, is what you really wanted was an assistant. Somebody to manage your social media for you. That ain't a fucking
goddamn. I would have loved
bro.
an assistant. I'd like an assistant right now, still to this day. So
I'm sorry, y'all needed a manager, but you wanted an assistant.
I think we all need an assistant.
And that's the same for vaudeville. That's the same for a lot of the bands I was fucking with. Is like, and people expected immediate returns. Like they expected to sign with me for nothing, no money exchanged.
Okay,
like
so
nothing, and they expected me to like get them opening for fucking.
So here we are, Wither the Tide. We
whatever.
just signed with Jared Singer Productions. I'm expecting to share the
60
stage
days later.
with
Why
Lars
aren't we on
Ulrich
Ozfest?
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Why am I not on stage opening up Slamwich in between Metallica?
That's exactly
and
how y'all
with
acted.
featuring Lars Ulrich,
I mean, we're exaggerating.
the shuffle drummer, the shuffle beat extraordinaire.
We're
followed up
exaggerating
by
a little
Ozzy
bit.
Osbourne.
We're exaggerating a little bit, but that's essentially almost exactly how it went.
I wish that's how it went. That would have been pretty fun. Although I would have been like, who are these guys?
No, but it was for real. It was like, really? Like, I'm just starting a production company and you guys are wondering why you're not on the... Like, I told you this was going to take
Jared,
6 months.
listen. I think you
Like,
might have
fuck.
internalized this too much.
It's come up in conversations.
You should
and over
have this
again over the
conversation with Rich because I don't know any of the details.
But my point to bringing this up was none of these things made me biased. Getting fired, because I didn't quit. I got fired as your manager.
Let's write a song about it.
That bias of being fired didn't pervert me to this album. However, I'm trying to say this in context. The bias of me being involved with your band also doesn't lead me towards this album. It's purely as a music fan and as a fellow songwriter that I think this entire album front to back is absolutely fucking brilliant, man.
Thanks.
And it's one of those things in the world that I think needs to get more love, because once a year, minimum once a year, I will listen to this album front to back. I have a certain playlist that once or twice a year, I'm like, tonight's my night. And it's always in the winter once, where I put the heater in the garage and I'm fucking blackout drunk by myself working on the lawnmower.
This sounds pretty good. In the winter.
Snowblower.
Yeah.
Snowblower.
No,
sorry.
lawnmower.
On the snowblower.
Working on the lawnmower in the winter.
No,
fantastic.
I'm fucking blackout drunk and I am fucking jamming, and my wife comes down and complains that from in the house upstairs 60 feet away she can hear my stereo in the garage over the TV in the bedroom. And then I'm like, no, you can't get out.
This is just hitting close to home because that's kind of shit I do every once in a while too.
Right.
My wife walks in, I hear the door open, and I'm like a deer in the headlights. Like, oh, I'm in deep shit. The wife just opened the door at 2 a.m. and here I am in the garage, and I got my music banging. I got a wrench in my hand. I'm covered in brake fluid,
and I'm mad because she showed up and disrupted my vibe. I was like, bitch, I was vibing. What are you doing in here right now? This is my space. It's too loud.
Hey.
I'm like, don't tell me it's too loud.
I want to play. You can play this, but there's one song that I want to play before we go tonight.
Your phone case
I got it ready to go for you because there's one song that has a collaborator, female vocalist, one of the greatest local Minnesota band vocalists I've heard in a long time, and I want to share it with you. This one, right?
As far back as I can see, this light is blazed behind me, forever leading this life as if I were someone else. No reprieve ever was found by leaving this underground. 1 century was not enough to make me let it go. Now that we are all consumed with ourselves, as far back as it could be, your warnings crept behind me, forever leading this life as if I were someone else. No reprieve ever was found by leaving this underground. 1 century was just enough to make me let it go. Now that we are and I watch the light divide between the surface and the sky, and I no longer ask her why. Now that we are all consumed with ourselves, we travel with the slightest breezes. This century has had no ease. I once thought you would be there till the last 100 years happened to all you. Come on, and let this go. Know that we are all consumed with ourselves. We topple with the slightest breezes. This century has had no ease. I once thought you would be there till the last 100 years happened to all you.
Bro, I'm telling you. I'm down.
Should say that song. It was, although it was, yeah, make that stop. So that song in particular, yeah, you followed up into one of the instrumentals. That song in particular, it was one of those ones that bounced in my head since like the mid '90s when I was almost a kid, and then we brought it back, and Sean Hill, like, I remembered it. I put it together once in like the year 2000. Like, I built the song out, and then I lost the files in whatever tracker program I had at the time. But then in 2006, I went back to Sean, and I'm like, dude, I put the shit back together, but I don't know how to finish it. And Sean actually helped me to complete that song. So that one is that one wouldn't have been what you heard without Sean. It probably wouldn't have been done. So, but the original pieces and everything, they'd been kicking around for a long time. And in the middle, when you hear the yeah, I haven't let this go, it's like that's like a visceral reaction. That's like me commenting like, yeah, this is great. Glad I haven't let this song go. Glad I still got it after all these years. That's almost like it's kind of meta because I'm talking about the song.
And you did that whole album with Wally. You did all the Wither shit with Wally.
Yeah, everything Wither the Tide was done with Wally.
Everything you guys are hearing. Here's the irony. This is all early in your career.
Yeah,
you've gotten better since then.
Oh, way better.
And what we're planning to do is going to hit so fucking hard.
Yeah,
I like consciously all the time worry about overhyping shit, but then I hear the seeds of what we've done, knowing what all of us are capable of, and I'm telling you, man, when we're truly done with this record, me, Jeremy, Dalton, Wally, and whoever this fucking rhythm section becomes, this shit is gonna fucking slap. It is gonna slap so fucking hard. I don't give a fuck if it's popular or not. Shit is gonna be dope.
So in that song, you hear there's kind of
I'm so excited.
That song, I'm so
excited.
I like that that's the first track because it's got a lot of the kind of the surrealistic vocal approach that I take, because you hear that stop where it's like booed, and you hear the part where I go low. I've always really enjoyed doing like for every note that I push high. Every time I add a higher note to my voice, I would always add a low. I'd make sure I could get down there too. So I'd have that part where it's like, I stood by and I watched the light. Like, I'd always make sure that I could do that, and I could go every bit as high. So it's like, then you hear the falsetto I probably sound pretty bad right now because my falsetto's not warmed up. Yeah, but like that. Like getting up there like that, like I make sure that I can always do that every time I go like, oh yeah.
That, again, just to bring it back to what we were talking about earlier, that's why it's so important to get a team together. People that listen, man, you're an expert at what you do. I'm an expert at what I do. Let's put our brains together and let's make something truly dope. And that's a big part of what we're doing on this podcast with the crew we're putting together. I'm telling you, man, like over the next year or two, everybody who's been on this podcast.
What's causing?
Okay, hold on. Almost every single person who's been on this podcast is fucking dope. And what they're doing is fucking dope. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap this up.
I wanna play one more song.
We're gonna hold on. We're gonna wrap this up, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a post show. We're gonna do a post show wrap up in the Patreon. All right. So we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys. If you like this kind of content, please hit like, subscribe, share this video. I think this was a great podcast, Jeremy. Thank you for coming on for the official. We're gonna just keep going, but we're gonna do a private post show in the Patreon for some bonus content. So we're gonna shut this one down. Make sure you guys go to Jared Singer Live at patreon.com. Patreon.com/Jared Singer Live. $3 a month. You get all kinds of bonus content. We're starting the ad-free shit. I'm doing we're really starting to do some really cool shit. Some really, really dope shit. So come over, join the Patreon, help us support this podcast, help us buy and continue to upgrade gear, and like and subscribe. If you like Jeremy's shit, you know where to get it. It's Wither the Tide. Search wherever you listen to your music. It's Wither the Tide. There's two different spellings of it, which I think was a terrible idea on your guys' part.
Or
but,
was it? Yeah.
Wither the Tide, both with and without an H in Wither. But you guys can hear their music all over the platform, Spotify, iTunes. You're going to have two different artists in your list, though. Wither the Tide with an H and Wither the Tide without an H. But again, if you guys like this content, hit like. Please hit subscribe. And also, if you guys want to see me post a bunch of dumb shit and clips, follow me on social media. Everything's Jared Singer Live, wherever you follow me. Probably don't want to follow me on Twitter, though, because all I do is talk shit to my local politicians on Twitter. It's really bad. All right, we're going to wrap this up, and then join us in the Patreon. We're going to do a little post show.
I got a little preview for everybody for my upcoming project.
No, we're ending this. That's going into the Patreon.
Then it is. All right.